at Trump Chicago with a delicious buffet from 4 to 7 p.m. featuring maple glazed, sage roasted turkey and artisanal cheeses. There will be no better place to celebrate Thanksgiving throughout the city, as guests of Trump Chicago will have the most iconic views of the city's skyline, all while delighting in this one-of-a-kind Thanksgiving dinner extravaganza. Admission to the event includes full dinner buffet, carving station, raw bar station, cheese and charcuterie station, dessert station, bar including selection of wine, champagne, and beer, and more. Prices are $1.95 per adult and $65 per child. Trump Chicago Thanksgiving Buffet. Book now via Eventbrite.com. Search Trump Thanksgiving.
With Steel, batteries are included. This holiday season, give a gift that's ready to go right out of the box. For everything from cleaning up the yard to cutting up firewood, Steel tools check off the wish list and knock out the to-do list. And right now, buy select battery tool sets and get a free extra battery. Visit SteelUSA.com for holiday deals and gift ideas. Happy holidays from Steel. Offer valid for a limited time only at participating dealers while supplies last.
For months, you've been hearing ads about Virago Immune Support. I have to tell you, this stuff is for real. I had an occasion to not be feeling well on a remote broadcast. I took it, and it is the real deal. And the stronger your immune system, the stronger your body defends against diseases, viruses, and everything else. That's why Dr. Huber created Virago, a liquid immune booster supplement. You take it daily. It's a blend of 23 nutraceuticals working in synergy to maximize effects and boost your immune system. It's the nutraceutical cocktail for an immune system, antiviral, anti-inflammatory, antioxidant. Virago even protects your heart, your kidneys, your liver, all in a unique liquid supplement for better absorption. Do yourself and your spouse a favor. Order a bottle of Virago today online at myvirago.com. That's myvirago.com. Use coupon code IMMUNE to save 30%. Maha and Virago, making America healthy again.
The biggest time of the year for stores is during the Christmas season. And if you deal in collector coins, the main source for inventory is from people like you. We want to have our showcases fully stocked before Christmas. Last Christmas, gold was the highest ever recorded in its 5,000-year run. We don't always know if precious metals will go up or down. We're saying that if you don't appreciate that collection Grandpa left, you may want to at least find out what you can get for it. Fox Valley Coins is the trusted place where people come to buy and sell their precious metals, rare coins, and paper money. We're especially interested in purchasing now through the first week of December. And we'll still be buying after we get back from the Christmas break, but we need to purchase now. Fox Valley Coins is located one light north of I-88 on Route 59 on the Naperville-Warrenville border. We'll be closed Christmas Eve through Monday, January 4th, celebrating Jesus' birth with family and for year-end inventory. Merry Christmas from Fox Valley Coins. Family-owned integrity since 1981. FoxValleyCoins.com.
When it comes to industrial coating and finishing, cutting corners isn't an option. That's why leading manufacturers across the Midwest trust D&D Industrial Coatings in Racine, Wisconsin. From powder coating and liquid painting to blasting and custom finishing, D&D Industrial delivers top-tier protection and performance, fast, precise, and built to last. With over 40 years of experience, ISO-certified processes, and state-of-the-art lines, D&D handles everything from OEMs and petrochemical to agriculture, marine, construction, medical, and government specs. Family-owned, nationally trusted. Whether it's a short run or high volume, your parts are in expert hands, finished on time and finished right. Visit them today, ddindustrial.net. Again, that's ddindustrial.net. Or call them at 262-637-0686 to get your custom quote today. Again, that's 262-637-0686. D&D Industrial Coatings. Engineered to protect. Finished to impress.
Dan Proft here to tell you about an opportunity for you to promote your business and to make a difference this Christmas season. I'm talking about our Food for the Poor Business Benefactor Program. We've partnered with Food for the Poor to provide life-saving food and water for thousands of children and their families in Latin America and the Caribbean. Your business can be a part of this effort. Become a Food for the Poor business benefactor by making a $2,500 tax-deductible donation to Food for the Poor. That donation will help more than 30 children for an entire year. And when you do that, AM 560 will give you 40 one-minute commercials to air here on AM 560 The Answer between 5 a.m. and 8 p.m. Monday through Friday at no additional cost to you. To take advantage of this deal, just call John Gallagher at 847-472-8950. Again, that's 847-472-8950. One more time, the number, 847-472-8950. Or go to 560theanswer.com/food for the poor. That website again, 560theanswer.com/food for the poor.
Now, your official weather forecast. Today, expect windy conditions with gusts exceeding 50 miles per hour. The sky will be mostly cloudy and temperatures will drop with a high reaching 34. Tonight will be mostly cloudy and breezy with a low of 27. Tomorrow, anticipate cold and breezy weather with more clouds than sunshine and a high of 32. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
Portions of the following show may be pre-recorded.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Goldilocks, offering smart security systems to homes and businesses. Call Goldilocks at 708-889-5600.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan Proft here. Happy Thanksgiving Eve. So yesterday, Trump, the pro forma holiday duties of the president, at least as it pertains to Thanksgiving, the pardoning of the turkeys. Here was Trump doing that in a fashion only Trump can.
The turkeys being pardoned today go by the names of Gobble and Waddle. When I first saw their pictures, I thought we should send them, I shouldn't say this. I was going to call them Chuck and Nancy. But then I realized I wouldn't be pardoning them. I would never pardon those two people. I wouldn't pardon them. I wouldn't care what Melania told me. Darling, I think it would be a nice thing to do. I won't do it, darling.
But speaking of Gobble and Waddle, he also took the occasion of that media availability to announce the turkey pardons to talk seriously about violent crime in this country, and specifically in a little hamlet known as Chicago. President Trump taking up the cause of Bethany McGee and law-abiding Chicago residents, whether they like him or not, in offering this.
You saw all the crime that took place last night, the night before. The woman with the burning, they burned the woman. To be talking about that now, they burned this beautiful woman riding in a train. A man was arrested 72 times. 72 times, think of that. And they'll let him out again. The liberal judges will let him out again. But we're ready to go. You know, we've been moving toward Chicago. We have a governor that thinks it's wonderful that only like 7 people were killed this week. But we are moving toward doing, and we're going to, if crime gets, it's horrible what's happening in Chicago. We could make Chicago a safe city in a period of 4 weeks. In a period of 8 weeks, 9 weeks, 10 weeks, it would be totally safe. And the people of Chicago want us to go there. And if you look at the crime that's taken place in Chicago in the last 2 weeks, just take a look. It's on the front page of every newspaper. It's out of control. The mayor is incompetent, and the governor is a big fat slob.
There you go. 312-642-5600. Turnkey.pro answer line and text line. The mayor is incompetent and the governor's a big fat slob. Speaking of Governor Waddle and Gobble, he addressed the Bethany McGee saga when pressed about the Safety Act, pretrial release, habitual violent offenders. And this is what Governor Waddle and Gobble had to say about his purge law.
Of course, if there are changes that need to be, look, we do this all the time in Springfield, right? Where there are laws that have been on the books for 20 years that need tweaking because there's something that somebody missed in the original, writing of it. And so always willing to look at that. I can't speak to the specifics of that case that you're raising, but just to say, of course, and I've said this about the Safety Act before, and about really every bill that gets passed in Springfield. Sometimes bills get passed And everybody that votes for it knows that there needs to be a trailer bill or a tweak that needs to be made afterward. So I think everybody is open to listening to what changes might need to be made.
Is that right? Oh, now we're open to tweaking. Well, we have been fighting this battle against the Pritzker Purge Law for the better part of 3.5 years. And without being immodest, I was the one that made it the central issue in the 2022 governor's race. And it should have been. And just to walk back to that year, 2022, here was the actual approach that Governor Waddle and Gobble and all his decarceration, non-prosecution, defund buddies took. This is what they said. What he said on the occasion, February 21, 2022. Let's be specific, shall we? February 21, 2022, when he signed the Safety Act. This is what he said about people who opposed the act, people that were raising the concerns, all of which have been realized and then some.
Opponents of this law don't want any change, don't believe there is injustice in the system, and are preying upon fear of change to lie and fearmonger in defense of the status quo.
Liars and fearmongers. And the promise of his purge law, the so-called Safety Act, one of those pieces of legislation, like so many, where what it tells you it's going to do is the opposite of what it's going to deliver.
All Illinoisans will live in a safer and more just state with this law on the books.
Is that the record after 3 years? 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. So that was February 21, 2022. And then in conjunction with the efforts of the Bailey campaign, flying off of my lead, clearly, this was made, and finally some mindless, the ostriches in the Republican Party picked their heads up out of the sand, and some of them actually picked it up in the closing weeks of the 2022 campaign and also made it an issue as well. So much so that Pritzker, in the October, dates. Let's go through it so he doesn't get away with it again. October 22nd debate, he said that the Safety Act will not mean the release of violent offenders, and if it does, we'll change it, which is such an interesting way. It doesn't do that, and if it does turn out to do that, we'll change it. What is it? So does it do it or not? I don't know. I want to take both sides of the argument. It doesn't do it, and if it does, we'll change it. By the way, it was hailed by both Governor Waddle and Gobble, as well as Juliana Stratton, who wants to be your United States Senator. It was hailed by them in February of 2022. Hailed by them as a transformative step in criminal justice reform. Quote, a transformative step, unquote. And then 8 months later, when he was taking on too much water, Governor Waddle and Gobble said, it doesn't do it. Doesn't do what 100 of the 102 county state's attorneys suggest it's going to do. All the state county sheriffs. It doesn't do what they say it's going to do. But if it does, then we'll change it. And so on October 26th, a couple weeks before the election, in a sit-down with ABC News' Craig Wall, this is what he said.
Governor J.B. Pritzker proposing an amendment to the SAFETY Act to counter what he calls Republican disinformation.
So let's explicitly put into the SAFETY Act with an amendment saying that we're not going to let anybody out, any of the violent criminals out on January 1.
Yeah, it's hilarious. It's if it's Republican misinformation, then why would you need to amend it? And they did amend it after his reelection, you'll recall. Called for a special session prior to the election. Didn't happen. After the election, nobody admitted anything. There's no problem with it. After the election, all of a sudden is, let's look at it. And we went through this process to put whipped cream on excrement, essentially. And then so that amendment didn't happen. And what has transpired over the last 3 years? Well, why don't you ask Bethany McGee's family? George, Naperville.
Dan, first I'd like to wish you a happy Thanksgiving, and then I'd like to say, you're welcome, and then I'd like to say is our governor is not a fat slob. He's just husky.
Yes. Thank you for that, George. Very considerate. Larry, Elmhurst.
Hey, good morning. Hey, what this law did was make me go out and get a carry and conceal, because I'd rather die in a shootout than in a bed somewhere. And plus, with just hearing Trump call him a fat slob 2 or 3 times in that speech made my day.
It was rather enjoyable. Not to mention, I mean, he set me up perfectly and to connect the dots here. He pardons Waddle and Gobble, and then he talks about our governor Waddle and Gobble. I mean, how good is that? Oh, by the way, just in terms of where things are at, not that people who listen to this show don't know, but obviously these cases of people that should not be on pretrial release and committing crimes while on pretrial release, so all these preventable crimes. It is a daily occurrence. CWB Chicago has done a great job chronicling these cases, too. Man who went on a crosstown robbery spree while wearing an ankle monitor has been given a 5-year sentence. His alleged accomplice, coincidentally, is at large after escaping from electronic monitoring while fighting the charges. 22-year-old pleaded guilty to 4 robberies in exchange for concurrent 5-year terms. So now that we're on the adjudication phase of this process, but crosstown robbery spree while on an ankle monitor, and his accomplice escaped the ankle monitor. How's Chief Judge Tim Evans' office doing monitoring the electronic monitoring program? How's that going? One more. Rapper 4 Block Lil Mary, or Mari, yeah, I love his work, got shot by a concealed carry holder during botched carjacking. South suburban teenager who raps under the name 4 Block Lil Mari has been jailed after prosecutors accused him of shooting a woman during a botched South Shore carjacking that ended with the victim, a concealed carry holder, per Larry Elmhurst, shooting him as well. This 17-year-old from Stager was, say it with me, on pretrial release for allegedly possessing a machine gun and a stolen vehicle at the time of the shooting. And certainly possessing a machine gun and having stolen a car at 17, that doesn't say penchant for violence. No. Shocked the criminal justice guardians to find the 17-year-old from Stager trying to carjack someone after they caught him previously with a machine gun in a stolen vehicle. Stunning development. We'll take more of your calls. I also want to highlight Bethany McGee's GoFundMe page. Do that at 5:38. Now we check the headlines.
Good morning. It is 52 degrees here in Chicago on AM 560 The Answer. I'm Stace Keene in the AM 560 newsroom. Morgan Geyser was in court in Posen yesterday, where she waived extradition back to Wisconsin. Geyser arrived in Posen by bus after she escaped from a group home over the weekend. Geyser had been released from a mental hospital earlier this year. She'd been found not guilty by reason of mental disease in the stabbing of a classmate when she was just 12 years old. The victim was rescued by a passerby after being left out in the woods. Geyser said she stabbed her friend to please the fictional character Slenderman. Actress Tara Reid has filed a police report claiming her drink was spiked with drugs while she was at a local hotel bar. According to reports, Reid had stepped away for a moment and returned to find a napkin over her drink. Reid claimed she took a drink out of her beverage, and the next thing she remembers was waking up in the hospital. This report is a service of Blindster.com. What if they can guarantee the price of Bitcoin will be $1 million in 2030? Well, they can't, but they can guarantee you'll save a lot of money on blinds at their company, Blindster.com. Free samples, free shipping, and guaranteed to fit. Shop at Blindster.com today. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next minute.
Scott Jennings sees a mixed message.
A few weeks ago, they spent all of their energy talking about how this is the Republican shutdown. That was all any Democrat could say. This is the Republican shutdown. The election came and went. 8 Democrats decided to open up the government. And now the rest of the Democratic Party is angry about it.
The Scott Jennings Show. Weekdays at 1, right before Hugh Hewitt at 2 on AM 560. The Answer.
Humane Indiana has been saving pets and finding their forever homes for over 85 years. And they do it without any state or federal funding, while finding homes for cats and dogs, providing low-cost spay-neuter services, vaccines, and medicine to thousands of pets each year. Humane Indiana is only able to do this because of people like you. With your help, Humane Indiana can continue to protect pets and preserve our local wildlife. Did you know 86 cents of every dollar donated goes directly to care for the animals? And if you are over 70 and a half, you can transfer up to $105,000 from your IRA directly to Humane Indiana without paying federal income tax. This gift can be made in addition to your regular annual giving. Humane Indiana, creating a better world for the animals and the people who love them. To donate, call today, 219-513-8911, or visit humaneindiana.org.
Your ambition just met its match with Robinhood. Trade stocks and ETFs, options, futures, and crypto all on one platform. Get started today at Robinhood.com/yourmoney. Your money, your move. All investments involve risk, including loss of principal. Options, futures, and crypto trading carry significant risk and may not suit all investors. Securities offered through Robinhood Financial LLC, member SIPC. Futures trading is offered by Robinhood Derivatives LLC, not FDIC or SIPC protected. Crypto offered through Robinhood Crypto LLC, NMLS ID 1702840, not FDIC or SIPC protected. Portfolio management offered by Robinhood Strategies, an SEC registered advisor.
If a Lenovo computer for your business is on your holiday list, don't shop around. Just go directly to the source, Lenovo.com. You'll find exclusive deals on the PCs you want for your business, like the ThinkPad X9 14 Aura Edition and Yoga 7i 2-in-1. So avoid all that shopping chaos and price comparing, and just go directly to the source, Lenovo.com, where PCs are up to 50% off. That's Lenovo.com.
Lenovo. Do the holiday parties, tailgating, and family get-togethers have your liver working overtime? Let Active Liver help give your liver some relief at Amazon or VitaCost.com, CVS, Meijer Grocery, or ShopRite.
Now, your official weather forecast.
Today, expect windy conditions with gusts exceeding 50 miles per hour. The sky will be cloudy and temperatures will be colder with a few flurries possible. The high will reach 34 degrees. Tonight will be mostly cloudy and breezy with a low of 27 degrees. Tomorrow will remain cold and breezy with more clouds than sunshine and a high of 32 degrees. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Forever Remodeling. Stress-free and high-quality remodeling. View their stunning transformations online at the number 4everremodeling.com.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan Proft. We were discussing what President Trump had to say yesterday about the incompetent mayor and the fat slob of a governor that Chicago and Illinois feature during his remarks as he pardoned Waddle and Gobble and resisted the temptation to name them Chuck and Nancy. And recounting that Governor Waddle and Gobble, if I could borrow the names of both turkeys and apply them to our governor, which seems appropriate. Multiple levels it works, actually. Recalling that the governor now saying, of course I'm open-minded, tweaking the Safety Act when it should be repealed wholesale. But reminding people that he vilified, as is his wont, opponents of the Safety Act, the Pritzker Purge Law, when he signed it in February of 2022. Essentially saying not just, misinformation from the right wing, but essentially saying that 100 of Illinois' 102 state's attorneys, its county sheriffs, law enforcement personnel who opposed the Safety Act were liars and fearmongers. 3 years later, who turned out to be the liar? Will he take Trump up on his offer to make Chicago safe in 4 weeks? That's what the president said yesterday, and has said previously. No, of course not. They don't need any federal law enforcement support because JB and BJ know what they're doing. They're doing it, and it's working. Violent crime, the way that it's discussed by people better get Chicago out their mouth, is a manufactured crisis. Plus, were they to accept any assistance from the federal government, were they to concede that President Trump has a point, well, that runs against their daily demonization of him as their main credential to remain in public office. Why should we elect you? Because I hate Trump. Great. And that does what for me? Bob, Buffalo Grove.
Good morning, Dan. Thanks for taking my call. Happy Thanksgiving to you and the staff of WIND. Regarding the Safety Act, I wonder if there's a way to amend it to force not recommendations, but a review of judges, namely Teresa Gonzalez. There's really no mechanism to remove her from office for her incompetence. Besides voting her out of office. The other professions have ways of removing incompetent people, like doctors. Even my fellow engineers can get removed from working because of their failures. So why can't we remove Teresa Gonzalez?
Yeah. Thanks for the call, Bob. Well, you can. We can. There is a provision in the state constitution for that. There's a courts commission, which is part of the Judicial Inquiry Board, that makes a final decision on whether to remove, suspend, censure, or retire a judge if a complaint is brought and it's voted up by that judge's colleagues. There's also ARDC, the Attorney Registration and Disciplinary Commission, that can file complaints against sitting judges. So there's also an impeachment process, which would involve the House and the Senate. But functionally, given the domination of Illinois by one party, That's not going to happen, number one. Number two, she's not even going to get criticism from that party, and she hasn't. Bob from Buffalo Grove talking about the judge who put Lawrence Reed, the man who lit Bethany McGee on fire on that CTA train. She put him on electronic monitoring back in August after he beat a nurse at the psych ward at McNeil Hospital in Berwyn unconscious. His somewhere between his 49th or 48th and 71st arrest, 9 felony convictions, and she puts on electronic monitoring, infamously now telling the Cook County State's Attorney who wanted Lawrence Reed held, no pretrial release, wanted him held over for trial. And the judge saying to the Cook County State's Attorney, I can't just put everybody in jail that the Cook County prosecutors want me to put in jail. Words to that effect. Right. I can't just put any old person that prosecutor wants held over for trial in jail pending trial, even if he's been convicted of 9 felonies, even if he allegedly yelled, burn alive, bitch, when he lit her on fire. Sure. But I'm sorry, have you heard criticism of those judges from Brandon Johnson, from J.B. Pritzker, from Tim Evans, from, frankly, Eileen Burke, the Cook County State's Attorney, from Don Harmon, from Chris Welch, from your local state representative, from your local congresswoman? So we have these processes in place, but we don't have the political will to use them, do we? Having an accountability mechanism is only as good as your willingness to use it where appropriate. Dan in Salem, Wisconsin.
Hey, Dan, that big fat slob with his sanctuary state is affecting me in Wisconsin. I live in Kenosha County, and in Kenosha, they just arrested 20 illegal aliens that are connected with Chicago for sex trafficking. Yeah, and the big fat slob is causing all this, too, all over in other states, too, all over the place, because that sanctuary state that he's protecting, his residents.
Thanks for the call, Dan. Well, that big fat slob and that incompetent mayor are also doing a number on Chicago. 2 more three more, really, of the members of those huddled masses yearning to breathe free. Your would-be Horatio Algers. Three Venezuelan migrants, all juveniles, part of a group that attacked, murdered, and robbed a homeless man in the Loop over the weekend. This was outside the Exchequer pub on South Wabash. A group of about 9 people walked past him at 5:30 in the morning on Sunday, according to the police report. Members of the group, one appeared to be armed with a knife, physically attacked the man. Footage shows the armed assailant making a swiping down, stabbing motion toward the victim. Another attacker approached the man from behind and kicked him in the back. The group then fled the scene, running down Wabash and turning onto Jackson, then north on State Street to the Red Line. Oh, good. Street crime can then be taken to mass transit. Victim's body found about 2 hours later. Transporter Northwestern pronounced dead from a stab wound to his upper back. A 16-year-old Venezuelan migrant. He had the knife in his right sleeve. Also charged are 2 14-year-olds identified as Venezuelan migrants. One is charged with first-degree murder. The other charged with robbing the victim. Yep. Sanctuary City and Sanctuary State. That, like the Safety Act, will also make Illinois safer and more just. Is that what's happening? Roger DeKalb.
Hey, Dan. Happy Thanksgiving. Thanks for being in today. But I have a close relative I grew up without, and he married a nice Southside Polish girl, became a Cook County Sheriff's deputy. He retired about 7-8 years ago. But probably around 2000, he started working the squad where they went after people that broke their ankle monitoring. He's a big dude. These are 3-man crews, full riot gear, shotgun, battering rams, weapons around. They'd go in, and they were going after violent criminals. So the whole history of all those programs of releasing violent recidivist criminals has never worked. Because if they want to commit violence and hurt somebody, they're gonna. It doesn't matter if they're out on the streets; it's going to happen. So this is nothing new. Cops all know it tragically, but not much they can do when your politicians are just weak-minded and think you can let violent people prey on their citizens. So you have a
thanks for the call, Roger. Happy Thanksgiving to you as well. The McGee family, back to Bethany, has set up a GoFundMe. About 2,000 donations so far, raised $132,000. Their goal is 190. This is what the family said in the GoFundMe. In response to the countless requests for a way to help, our family is setting up this GoFundMe on Bethany's behalf. Many of her immediate medical expenses are covered by insurance and a victims fund, but with such a long road ahead of her, the freedom from financial worries would be a tremendous blessing. No gifts are expected, but any that are given will go directly to Bethany. We also want to do what we can to respect her privacy. This will be her story to tell or not to tell in the future. I'm just glad that she's going to have a future. It sounds like that's the good news. We ask that we not be contacted with immediate inquiries or requests for further information or medical updates, as our priority at this time is making sure we love Bethany well and give her the support she needs. What we can say is this. Bethany is a beloved daughter, sister, sister-in-law, granddaughter, niece, and aunt. She's a good friend. She's a sensitive, caring, intelligent. She is sensitive, caring, intelligent, and imaginative. She loves living in Chicago, and her gentle spirit makes her a favorite with every pet she meets. She enjoys playing tabletop and video games with her community, and she is quick to include others in conversations and make them feel welcome. She is kind. In this season of Thanksgiving, we are so grateful for the chance to celebrate at Bethany's side. Thank you for keeping her and our family in your prayers. The McGees. Dan Proft, Chicago's Morning Answer.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer.
Your show keeps me alive during the week. There's nobody I'd rather listen to between 5 and 9 in the morning than you guys.
On AM 560, The Answer.
Sign up for the AM 560 Answer Advantage to get early alerts on event ticket sales, special discounts, and contest opportunities. Sign up today at 560theanswer.com/advantage.
Dan Proft here to tell you about our 2025 Food for the Poor campaign. If you've listened to this station and to our show for any length of time, then you already know about Food for the Poor. They are a nonprofit, faith-based organization that provides food, water, medicine, clothing, and life-saving supplies directly to local partners in Latin America and the Caribbean. We all know about how bad the situation is in Latin America and the Caribbean right now. Economic decline, political instability and corruption, and high food prices. The only thing standing between these families and starvation is Food for the Poor and their partners who are providing life-saving food relief on the ground. But in order to get food and water to those who need it most, Food for the Poor needs your help. Your gift of just $150 can provide food and water for 2 children for an entire year. For a gift of $300, you can provide food and water for 4 children for an entire year. To make a gift of any amount, just call 844-862-4673. That's 844-862-4673. Or visit 560theanswer.com/foodforthepoor. And if you are a small business owner or you make the marketing or advertising decisions for a business, then you need to become a business benefactor. Just make a $2,500 tax-deductible donation to Food for the Poor. And AM 560 will give you 40 one-minute commercials to air here on AM 560 The Answer between 5 a.m. and 8 p.m. Monday through Friday at no additional cost to you. Lock in your 2026 marketing now at this incredible price. It really is the best deal in all of Chicago radio. You'll join a long list of businesses who are reaching AM 560's audience of affluent decision makers. And through the generosity of your business, you'll also be helping more than 30 children for a year. To take advantage of this deal, just call John Gallagher at 847-472-8950. Again, 847-472-8950. That number, one more time, 847-472-8950, or go to 560theanswer.com/food for the poor. That website again, 560theanswer.com/food for the poor.
Everyone is watching major movements ripple through the markets these days, sparked by new policy shifts out of Washington, elections around the country, and activity from the Federal Reserve. Americans have faced uncertainty before, and every time, we've found our footing again. The real secret to long-term financial peace is simple. Keep your eyes on the horizon and understand the fundamentals that drive real stability. That's exactly why Advantage Gold is inviting you to call 800-741-GOLD right now. We'll send you a free Gold IRA rollover kit, along with a complimentary copy of economist Ken Rogoff's insightful book, Our Dollar, Your Problem. Inside, you'll learn how to defend your retirement savings against inflation, market swings, and reckless fiscal policies, with tangible assets like precious metals that have preserved wealth for centuries. It's no wonder Advantage Gold has been America's #1 gold company for the past decade. Take a smart step toward protecting what you've earned. Call 800-741-GOLD. That's 800-741-4653. Consult your financial advisor before investing. Call 800-741-GOLD.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank, a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
Anthony and John here from Bionic Auto Parts, proud clients of Signature Bank. We deliver high-quality, recycled, and remanufactured auto parts to Chicago and Milwaukee. Our mission is simple: provide parts safely, reliably, with great customer satisfaction.
We process over 350 vehicles a month. With big banks, everything took forever. Layers of approvals and endless delays. At Signature Bank, one call got it done. Whether it's lending, deposits, or treasury management, they deliver fast. Signature Bank made us feel like family. That's a partnership we deeply appreciate.
Signature Bank helps local businesses succeed. Want to learn how Signature Bank can help turn your business vision into reality? Call Signature Bank at 773-467-5600 or visit signaturebank.bank. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Gain insight into building strong marriages and raising godly children with Focus on the Family with Jim Daly each weekday at 11:30 a.m. on our sister station, AM 1160. Hope for your life. AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan Proft here. We didn't get to Dave Swirsky's weekly offering in response to whether the Bears won or lost, and of course they won another close one this weekend. Do that momentarily. Carrie in Belvedere, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hi, thank you, Dan. Again, like last time I called, I really appreciate you because I get my news from you every day. Okay.
Thank you.
Now, to that guy that called that's from Kenosha, I live in Belvedere, which is outside Rockford.
Mm-hmm.
And we have already seen a huge increase of immigrants. Now, we were able to go out and we identified 10 houses, reported it to the police. They said, don't worry about it. We're aware. I do Amazon Flex also. We've seen a high increase of drivers. And it's a group of Venezuelan guys. I've already seen that. You know, you could tell. And that's stupid, but what do? There's nothing we can do. Our hands are tied. Stay armed, buy extra ammo, and hope for the best.
Yeah, well, right. Thanks for the call, Carrie. It's a problem when you live in a state that is uninterested in the rule of law and, frankly, uninterested in the safety of its law-abiding constituents, or certainly not as interested in as they are in importing people that will be state dependents or otherwise loyalists to replace the law-abiding people who play by the rules who have or are in the process of moving to other states. I don't know how else to describe it or how else to make it make sense. Everybody sees the same things. except the willfully blind. And the non-willfully blind who see the same things that Kerry and Belvedere sees and are supportive of the policy choices being made, what else could they be interested in other than political power? I mean, and their own self-righteousness, I get that, but really it's political power. All right, I do want to get to Dave Swirsky for his parody song celebrating the Bears' victory over my beloved Steelers. And I saw that he was on WGN this week. We got to try to get him on. Maybe he doesn't like conservatives. I don't know. But he's still very good, and this is another good one.
The Bears. This team might be invincible. The Bears. Seems every game is so stressful. Yeah. But with Coach Ben, we're a force. First place now in the North. Winning close games the norm. Each one goes back and forth. That's not how things used to be. But now I'm thinking the Bears might be unbeatable. The Bears. The Bears might be unbeatable. The Bears. Seems like we're invincible. This team wins and then I feel so spent. The Bears might be unbeatable. Time. How far can this Bears team go? Seems unavoidable. Our backs against the wall. Our stress is real because of our track record before. And though we're winning, it's like riding a seesaw. But now we're A-entry, and I'm just saying maybe we're unbeatable. Just in time, this team found a way to win again.
Good.
The Bears might be unbeatable. Time, how far can this Bears team go? Maybe we're unbeatable. Just in time, this team found a way to win again. The Bears might be unbeatable. Time, how far will this Bears team go? The Bears might be unbeatable.
Dave Swirsky's parody songs, and by the way, I'm sure Robert Palmer is smiling down on that offering. Is Robert Palmer? He's gone, isn't he? Anyway, those Dave Swirsky parody songs make the NFL marginally tolerable, at least the Bears. Coming up at 6:06, I'll reprise my tips that I got from Mike the bartender at Old Florida for avoiding the kill zone with your food this Thanksgiving. It's now 6 o'clock.
Many more Americans are on the go the day before Thanksgiving. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News.
Been pretty smooth. Came in a little too early, so I have to wait to go through TSA, but the earlier the better.
He's at Philadelphia's airport. So far, there are just over 500 flight delays across the country, just 25 cancellations. Most of the almost 82 million of us expected to be part of record Thanksgiving travel this year will drive. And Fox Business Network Cheryl Cassoni tells us.
Pro tip from AAA, by the way. Check your battery on your car and your tire pressure before you get on the road today. AAA last year had to respond to nearly 600,000 emergency roadside assistant calls. They were helping all those stranded drivers. Dead batteries, flat tires, empty fuel tanks, that can put kind of a damper on your Thanksgiving.
Now, driving's much tougher in some parts of the north. The day after Dakota's got heavy snow, there are blizzard warnings in Wisconsin and northern Michigan. Minnesota's also had wintry weather, and big lake effect snow is forecast tomorrow in northern Ohio and western New York. Israel's returned the bodies of 15 Palestinians the morning after positively identifying another dead hostage Hamas handed over as part of the ceasefire agreement that ended the war in Gaza.
Remembered as a devoted father and a talented cheesemaker, Dror Or was killed by militants from Hamas who stormed their kibbutz on October 7th, 2023. His body held in Gaza until yesterday. Or's wife Yonat was also killed in the massacre of some 1,200 people in southern Israel that day. 2 of their children were abducted by Hamas but released as part of a deal.
Fox's Jonathan Savage. Hamas still has to return 2 more dead hostages to fully comply. As Russia keeps waging war in Ukraine, President Trump says he's fine-tuned a peace plan he's pushing, telling reporters...
They're talking about going land both ways and trying to clean up a border. You know, you can't go through the middle of a house. You can't go through the middle of a highway. So they're trying to work something. It's a complicated process.
America's listening to Fox News.
WIND, Chicago.
Good morning. It is 36 degrees here in Chicago on AM 560 The Answer. I'm Stace Keene in the AM 560 newsroom. Fox News has obtained official documents of the man accused of pouring gasoline on a Chicago woman before lighting her on fire. Fox's Mike Tobin is in Chicago with the latest.
Court records show Lawrence Reed was violating the curfew on his electronic monitoring the night he is accused of setting Bethany McGee on fire. The system flagged an escalated alert. In fact, the system alerted the Cook County Chief Judge's office 7 times in the month of November that Reed was not abiding the terms of his home confinement. 4 times the alert was escalated. Court records show he stayed out all night Wednesday, November 12th, and again Friday the 14th. Still out and on the move again the night the innocent woman rode Chicago's Blue Line. Cook County State's Attorney Eileen O'Neill Burke argued the Chief Judge's office lacks the ability to enforce electronic monitoring and argues against home confinement. State's Attorney Burke has been sounding the alarm about over-reliance on and inadequacies of electronic monitoring for violent offenders for months.
In a post on X, the White House called the 50-year-old suspect a, quote, career criminal, stating that he has been arrested 72 times prior to the attack. 3 juvenile Venezuelan migrants are part of a group that allegedly attacked, murdered, and robbed a homeless man in downtown Chicago early Sunday morning. CWB Chicago reports that a 16-year-old boy and 2 14-year-old boys are facing charges in connection with that fatal stabbing and robbery. As of Tuesday afternoon, the victim remained unidentified. And it's going to be a busy weekend at Chicago's O'Hare and Midway airports. The Chicago Department of Aviation says the 2 airports could see nearly 2 million travelers from now through Sunday night. That's 10% more than last year. This report is a service of AlmostFreeTeeth.com. Think full mouth dental implants are too expensive? Think again, not at AlmostFreeTeeth.com. With medical insurance, you can save thousands and receive your finally affordable dream smile. Check if you qualify today at AlmostFreeTeeth.com. A check of the roads is coming up in 2 minutes on AM 560 The Answer.
Get ready for a musical journey like no other when the Trans-Siberian Orchestra returns to Chicago on December 26th on their The Ghost of Christmas Eve 2025 tour. Enter to win tickets and the grand prize of a 75-inch TV, a home stereo system, and a $1,000 gift card. Enter today at 560theanswer.com/TSO.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell, definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. If someone talked you into buying something really silly and you want to get out of that silly little thing, my advice, get the facts. Call me and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit absolutely free. Inside, you'll learn how timeshare works and all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free timeshare exit information kit. 800-809-7171. That's 800-809-7171.
Julia owed the IRS thousands.
I was paralyzed with fear.
Then
I heard a commercial for Optima Tax Relief.
Optima Tax Relief is the leading tax resolution firm. A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau and experts in the Fresh Start Initiative.
Optima Tax Relief settled my IRS tax bill.
Call Optima now for a free consultation.
It was amazing.
Call 800-926-0155. 800-926-0155.
Optima Tax Relief.
Visit OptimaTaxRelief.com for details.
Imagine spending your holiday season with family, not IT headaches from work. With managed IT help desk services by Access One, you get 24/7 expert support, an IT team that never takes time off for roughly the same cost or less than one IT person. Access One's IT help desk is a local center here in Chicago, ready to help 365 days a year, so you have less IT downtime and no IT staffing issues. You deserve to enjoy your holiday season with family, eating home-cooked meals, not getting interrupted with IT issues. Access One can give you peace of mind during the holidays. It's a gift to yourself and your company. To speak with an Access One agent, call 800-654-1555. Access One is now offering a 90-day risk-free trial so you can discover how they fix IT for good. Learn more at accessoneInc.com/guarantee. IT support tickets piling up? Not anymore. Hand off your help desk to Access One. AccessOneInc.com.
From the Team Hochberg Traffic Center, we've got some issues creeping up already this morning. We'll start on the Dan Ryan. There is a disabled vehicle on the right shoulder. If you're in the local lanes inbound at 31st Street, watch for residual delays there. Over to the Stevenson, watching the inbound off-ramp to the inbound Dan Ryan. There's about a 5-minute backup on the exit ramp from Ashland Avenue. Let's go to the Bishop Ford right now. Inbound, slow between 103rd and the Dan Ryan. Speaking of the Dan Ryan Express lanes inbound, we've got some delays between Pershing Road and Stevenson Expressway. Staying on the Ryan, local lanes inbound between Pershing and 18th, about a 5-minute backup there. How about the Stevenson? We're watching delays inbound between Harlem and Kedzie, about a 5-minute delay. Over to the Kennedy, about a 5-minute backup on the outbound lanes between River Road and Manheim. And in Marengo, an accident on Route 23 South will set you back a few minutes. This report is a service of Fox Valley Coins. Bring your gold or silver in store today. Each item priced right in front of you. The coins never leave your sight. Receive cash or check right on the spot. FoxValleyCoins.com. I'm John Cruz. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Now a check of the forecast from the National Weather Service.
Today, expect windy conditions with gusts exceeding 50 miles per hour. The sky will be cloudy and temperatures will be colder with a few flurries possible. The high will reach 34 degrees. Tonight will be mostly cloudy and breezy with a low of 27 degrees. Tomorrow will remain cold and breezy with more clouds than sunshine and a high of 32 degrees. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan Proft here. So since 1961, the Wall Street Journal has published this editorial entitled The Desolate Wilderness, which is an account of the Pilgrim's journey to Plymouth in 1620, as recorded by Nathaniel Morton, who was the keeper of the records of Plymouth Colony. And I'm trying to install my own tradition, and it involves Mike the bartender from Old Florida Golf Club in Naples. But before, just a little excerpt, I think, keeping traditions alive. The excerpt from The Desolate Wilderness, as recorded by Nathaniel Morton. So they left that goodly and pleasant city of Leiden, which had been their resting place for above 11 years, but they knew that they were pilgrims and strangers here below, and looked not much on these things, but lifted up their eyes to heaven, their dearest country, where God hath prepared for them a city, and therein quieted their spirits. And they made the travels, and they arrived, and then the account goes, what could they see but a hideous and desolate wilderness, full of wild beasts and wild men? And what multitudes of them there were, they then knew not. For which way soever they turned their eyes, save upward to heaven, they could have but little solace or content in respect of any outward object. For summer being ended, all things stand in appearance with a weather-beaten face, and the whole country, full of woods and thickets, represented a wild and savage hue. If they looked behind them, there was a mighty ocean, which they had passed, and was now as a main bar or gulf to separate them from all the civil parts of the world. And what an adventure they were on. Well, not quite something so daring as the Pilgrims, but tradition-inspiring, I suppose. So my friend and consigliere, Mike the bartender, he's sort of like a crazy Guggenheim from the Jackie Gleason show. Mike the bartender at Old Florida. He is also a food service professional. By way of credentialing him, I understood and got all the details yesterday that he is making, get this, I've never heard of this before, Bloody Mary deviled eggs for tomorrow's feast. Bloody Mary deviled eggs. And then he went through it all and said it's actually quite complicated. It's not just pouring vodka and Bloody Mary mix on top of a deviled egg. It's a little bit more intricate than that. It sounds good, doesn't it? Anyway, so I recounted this a couple of years ago, and I felt I should bring it back, as I said, and make it a bit of a tradition, just in the interest of happy Thanksgivings and the avoidance of foodborne illnesses. So here's the thing that he enlightened me, in addition to how to make Bloody Mary deviled eggs a couple years ago. I don't know anything about this. I don't cook. Everything is prepared by professionals in a professional setting. I don't make sandwiches. I don't do any of that. So, but when you go to Thanksgiving dinner, it's a family or family and friend affair, and so it's a communal setting, and it's a day. So, let's say the turkey is ready by early afternoon, noon, 1 o'clock. And then, everybody sits down and you have helping, maybe 2. And then you break up to go watch Lions Packers for a little bit, or to have your dessert. Well, maybe probably have your dessert and then watch football, or have your dessert while watching football. I don't know. And then time for the the women folk to clear the table, do the dishes. And then I say that without equivocation. You noticed. Thank you. And then maybe like I did when I was growing up with grandparents on my mom's side. Then everybody gets together. You play cards for a little while. And then maybe at that time, why don't we have some turkey sandwiches from the leftovers? See, that's the problem right there. There's what happens over the course of the day, as I came to learn, is that food moves from your delicious Thanksgiving meal early afternoon to the kill zone over the course of the day. I'm lucky I survived my childhood, because when we would take home leftovers, it was always after the full day, cards were played, it was getting dark, time to drive back home, and then you put the turkey and the deviled eggs and the mashed potatoes and whatever else you're going to take into containers. What do they call those plastic containers? Anyway. And then, and then you drive home. But that's over the course of 7-8 hours. So here's what I learned. This is the big reveal. So what Mike does, Mike the bartender from Old Florida, is he's got a protocol for leftovers. He's ready to go because he's a food service professional. So after the first phase of the meal, he gets his Tupperware. That's what they're called. He gets his Tupperware, and he takes the leftovers right after the first wave of eating has finished. And he takes what he's going to take, and then he puts it in, refrigerated bags or a cooler in his car. Because over the course of the day, as the food is sitting out, or it's just you just put some tinfoil or saran wrap or something over it, it's getting warmer, and it gets into the kill zone of 85 to 140 degrees. And that's when bacteria can start to form. And it can over the course of just even a few hours. And so you, by doing the Mike the bartender from Old Florida program, you avoid the kill zone. You keep your food essentially refrigerated, or at least within that 38 to 40 degree happy place, far away from the kill zone. And then when you get home and or the next morning and afternoon, when you want to enjoy, like, say, a deviled egg, for example, that's from the day before, then you know that it's safe. There's been no bacteria formation. I know that's probably not revolutionary to most of the people listening, and maybe this won't survive as a tradition because this is common knowledge. It's just not common to me. But I thought that was really interesting because I had never heard that. And so in the interest of, as I said, keeping everybody healthy and happy this Thanksgiving, I wanted to share this important public service announcement with you again. Dan Proft, Chicago's Morning Answer.
Before you see it on TV, share it on Facebook, or read about it in the paper. Hear it here first. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
You know what really keeps me up at night? It's the criminals feel more and more bold. They have no fear of any consequences because there are none. So I did what anyone with a family should do. I called Goldilocks. They're not just some cookie-cutter security company. Goldilocks has been protecting Chicagoland homes and businesses for 4 decades, 40 years. And they actually listen. Their technician comes out to the house. He takes a look at what you need to make your house a smart home with a security system you can monitor from anywhere. It's built specifically for me and my family. Motion sensors, smart locks, cameras, monitoring, all customized. I don't trust anybody in Illinois to protect my family. I do it, and I did it by calling Goldilocks. I trust Goldilocks to keep my house, my property, and my family safe. Tell them Sean Thompson sent you, and Goldilocks will include 3 months free monitoring with any new installation. Call Goldilocks at 708-899-5600. That's 708-899-5600. Or visit them online at GoldilocksInc.com.
Text from 847, learning food safety rules at your age is always hilarious. Yes, well, thank you. Thank you very much. You know, I can't know everything. You know, I've got gaps. I understand. You know, man has to know his limitations. Business owners, is your company's cybersecurity ready to handle today's cyber attacks? They're getting more and more sophisticated every year. Some companies never recover due to the fallout. In 2021, a ransomware group called DarkSide gained access to Colonial Pipeline through a compromised password. The impact, $4.4 million paid in ransom. In 2017, Equifax had a massive breach which ended up costing more than $700 million in settlements. Large companies from Target and Yahoo to small businesses, including medical practices, have suffered major losses due to cyber attacks. Many had to close their doors. Access One is here to protect your business 24/7, year after year. Access One, they're a proud sponsor of Chicago's Morning Answer. These are the guys you can count on. Cybersecurity isn't just about IT, it's about protecting your survival and customer trust. If you're concerned about your cybersecurity, get a free baseline cybersecurity assessment from Access One by calling 1-800-654-1555 or fill out the contact form at accessoneInc.com. They're here in Chicago. Again, the number 1-800-654-1555 to schedule your free baseline cybersecurity assessment, or visit their website, Access One, the number spelled out, O-N-E, accessoneInc.com.
Streaming services, retail chains, and tech giants are all adding Plus to their names. It's fairly obvious they were inspired by Hassellus Mattress. Hassellus showrooms are employee-free, plus unbeatable prices on Tempur-Pedic, plus free next-day delivery, plus 60-month interest-free financing on select Tempur-Pedic with approved credit, plus a $300 MasterCard gift card with your Tempur-Pedic mattress. Maybe we should change our name to Hassellus Plus. Find an employee-free showroom near you at Hassellus.com.
If a Lenovo computer for your business is on your holiday list, don't shop around. Just go directly to the source, Lenovo.com. You'll find exclusive deals on the PCs you want for your business, like the ThinkPad X9 14 Aura Edition and Yoga 7i 2-in-1. So avoid all that shopping chaos and price comparing, and just go directly to the source, Lenovo.com, where PCs are up to 50% off. That's Lenovo.com.
Lenovo. As the seasons change, so does the worry. The flu, cold, and COVID season is coming, making a lot of people feel anxious. But what if you don't have to feel that way? My name is Dr. Michael Huber, one of the developers of Virago, the liquid immune enhancement cocktail. Virago was formulated in a liquid to enhance absorption and provide a rapid response. Comprised of 23 natural ingredients chosen for their synergistic properties, it gives your immune system the boost it needs to fight whatever virus is out there. So with the Virago Boost, you can face the coming flu season feeling confident that you are protected. With Virago, you're not fighting the seasons, you're ready for them. Virago, power to defend. Maha starts with Virago.
Order your bottle of Virago online today. Visit myvirago.com. Use coupon code IMMUNE to save 30%. That's myvirago.com. Coupon code IMMUNE. Virago and Maha. Making America healthy again.
AM 560. The
Answer. Text from my friend Steve the Pilot about my revelatory food safety tip for leftovers on Thanksgiving that I got from Mike the bartender at Old Florida. Yes, common knowledge and common sense. Thanks for the public service announcement. The more you know, with a rainbow. Yes, the mocking. I'm okay. I can take it, but I'm telling you, I don't know. That's not what we did growing up. Maybe my parents were derelict. I don't know, but we didn't do that whole program like right away. You're on it with the leftovers, and you're putting it in those Tupperware, is that what they call them? And then in some sort of refrigerated environment to avoid the formation of bacteria as you're playing cards and enjoying football and perhaps arguing about Trump around the Thanksgiving Day table. Okay, everybody knows it but me. Okay, I'm the last to know. Fine, maybe. All right. To things I know a little bit more about, like politics. There is this special election coming up Tuesday. Like this Tuesday, a week from yesterday, December 2nd, in Tennessee. It's a special election for Congress to replace the retiring Mark Green, who is a Republican, who won his district 2 years ago by 21 points. And I don't know how close this race really is, but and part of this, there's a lot of money being poured into it, and part of that, of course, is because there's nothing else on the docket. So it's an opportunity for both sides to try to make some sort of statement that we're supposed to take as foreshadowing for what's to come in 2026 that may or may not happen. But I got to tell you, I mean, if this race is close, then Republicans have some thinking to do, because the dude running as a Republican is like a decorated, West Point educated combat helicopter pilot, okay? And the Dem socialist is this nut named Afton Ben, who rode screeching and being dragged out of the governor's office, being dragged out of the audience in the state legislative chamber for shouting down at state legislators, being screaming and crying and kicking, being dragged out of places. That's how she got elected to the state house in Tennessee. So who knows? But these videos that have come out about her are really something to behold. I mean, the caucus. I mean, the caucus of the Dem Socialists in both chambers, but particularly the House, is wildly entertaining. You know, like the Star Wars bar is entertaining. But, I mean, come on. West Point educated, decorated combat helicopter pilot versus this, Afton Ben, talking about what she talks to her therapist about. Hint, hint.
My therapist always asks me to transcribe my dreams when they happen. And the recurring dream I've had is standing up in a cafeteria full of women. I don't know why I was there or whatever. And saying, I don't want children, I want power. And just screaming it at the top of my lungs. And for someone who grew up with my mother telling me never have kids because you'll have to give up a lot. You'll have to sacrifice professionally, which is what she was saying. And where I am now with seeing the consequences and the ramifications of women having kids and being in the political field and what they're able to achieve, because we don't offer, it's like the political field hasn't met the challenge of working moms. They really haven't. But also the deeply patriarchal structures that these women are involved with because they've chosen marriage and they've chosen to raise children. And I think in the South it's incredibly difficult to shake those, especially if you've grown up here and that's all you've been told is the definition of success. The metric of success is how many kids you have, the bigger the square footage of your house, and where your kids go to school.
Hey, Afton, honey, go clean off the Thanksgiving Day table, will you? Be a doll. I have dreams in which I scream from the top of my lungs, I don't want kids, I want power. Gosh, what would Freud say? Jung. It's so open to interpretation. What does that tell me about me? What an enigma you are, Afton Ben. Good grief. She also doesn't particularly like her constituents or those who visit Nashville, particularly women that go there to have fun.
I've been heavily involved with the Nashville mayoral race because I hate the city, I hate the Bachelorettes, I hate the pedal taverns, I hate country music, I hate all of the things that make Nashville apparently an it city to the rest of the country, but I hate it. Yeah, I'm that girl at the airport that all these Bachelorettes are giddy walking out in their two-toned colored Pantone pink shirts, and they walk out and I'm like, they're like, oh my god, Nashville is so fabulous! It's so loud.
Uh-huh. It's an interesting approach. So when that video resurfaced, she had to go into some damage control. And I know what you're wondering. What does Afton Ben doing damage control sound like? Here it is.
Now, I always want Nashville to be better, right? I want Nashville to be a place where working people can thrive, right? But sure, I get mad at the Bachelorette sometimes. I get mad at the pedal taverns, right? And I'm talking to someone who has cried no less than 10 times in the Country Music Hall of Fame. The girl that just goes to the Ryman to hang out. No, we're not even going to go there. We are so close to winning this race, which is why these rumors are getting more wild. So I can't wait to see what they come up with next. But y'all, please keep doing the work.
Uh-huh. Well, one of the other things they came up next with was her continuing to try to do damage control, but not on that score about hating Nashville, hating country music, okay, and hating bachelorettes that visit Nashville because, you know, they act like women having fun as opposed to women shrieking about the political power they desire. She was interviewed on MSNBC, of all places, by Catherine Rampell, who's an op-ed writer for the Washington Post, of all things, pressed on tweets, old tweets, and whether or not she stands by them. What were the nature of those tweets? Well, think about it. She is a young awful. I don't think she's rich, so she's just an awful. And running around screaming and crying for whatever the cause celeb of the day is. So she got caught tweeting about defunding the police. She was asked by Rampell, do you still stand by those tweets? I'm not going to engage in cable news talking points. What does that mean? You got to hear this. If you thought that damage control was not equal to the task, listen to this exchange between Ben and Rampell.
Representative, in 2020, you made some tweets that have since been deleted that were very critical of police. You said in those since deleted tweets that the Metropolitan Nashville Police Department should be dissolved. Another cheered on a teachers union saying that defund the police should be a requirement for schools reopening. And another saying good morning, especially to the 54% of Americans that believe burning down a police station is justified. 2020 was obviously a very fraught year. Do you still stand by those comments? And if not, is there anything you want to clarify?
I'm not going to engage in cable news talking points, but what I will say is that our communities need solutions. We need local people deciding, solving local problems with local solutions, and that's not the overreach of a federal government or state government of which we are dealing with in Nashville and our cities across the state of Tennessee.
So you don't want to clarify whether you still believe that the police should be defunded?
Once again, I don't remember these tweets, but what I'm saying is that
I'm not asking you if you remember. What is your position today? How's that on this issue?
Do you still support burning down police stations?
Once again, I'm here to talk about my race, which is in literally 9 days.
Yeah. local solutions like defunding the police and burning down police stations. There's the candidate that the DCCC is putting, and the affiliated super PACs are putting millions of dollars behind to try to get into Congress. Again, against a West Point educated, decorated combat helicopter pilot. For the sake of that region of the country and Tennessee, I hope this is at least a 20-point race. Otherwise, there is something very sad going on in and around Nashville. We'll find out on Tuesday. Coming up at 6:36, the demise of Doge. We'll talk about it. Take your calls, 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. Now it's time to check the headlines.
Good morning. It is 36 degrees here in Chicago on AM 560 The Answer. I'm Stace Keene in the AM 560 newsroom. Chicago police are looking for a group of smash-and-grab robbers. According to reports, surveillance cameras caught 4 suspects as they crashed a white sedan into a liquor store on Southwestern Avenue early yesterday morning. The group proceeded to steal the cash register along with merchandise before they fled in a silver SUV. There are no suspects in custody at this time. Actress Tara Reid has filed a police report claiming that her drink was spiked with drugs while she was at a local hotel bar. Reid had stepped away for a moment, returning to find a napkin over her drink. Reid claims she took a sip of her beverage, and the next thing she remembers is waking up in the hospital. And it's going to be a busy weekend at Chicago's O'Hare and Midway airports. 2 airports could see nearly 2 million travelers from now through Sunday night. Officials say Sunday will be the busiest of all the travel days, with 700 flights scheduled to carry nearly 600,000 passengers. This report is a service of AlmostFreeTeeth.com. Think full mouth dental implants are too expensive? Think again, not at AlmostFreeTeeth.com. With medical insurance, you could save thousands and receive your finally affordable dream smile. Check if you qualify today at AlmostFreeTeeth.com. A check of the roads is coming up in 2 minutes on AM 560 The Answer.
Larry Elder explains what Obamacare is all about.
If you like your doctor, you can keep your doctor. False. If you like your health care plan, you can keep your health care plan. False. It'll save the average family $2,500 a year in premiums. False. It'll bend the cost curve down. False. It'll lower the use of ER rooms. False. It was supposed to solve the problem. It's gotten worse.
The Larry Elder Show. Weeknights at 8, right before Sean Hannity at 10 on AM 560. The Answer.
Ready for some holiday magic? Pack up the family and cruise over to Go-Bert's Farm in Pingree Grove, where 2 incredible Christmas light shows are waiting to light up your night. First up, the Go-Bert's Christmas Drive-Thru Light Show. We're talking millions of lights synchronized to music that'll have you cranking up the volume. Picture this: dancing penguins getting their groove on, snowflakes cascading all around you, reindeer galloping through enchanted fields, plus a dazzling tunnel of lights that's pure Christmas magic. But wait, there's more. The legendary Larson Christmas Light Show, the one everyone's been raving about from Campton Hills, is now right here on the Go-Bert's property. 30 minutes of jaw-dropping lights, spectacular special effects, and surprise character visits that'll make the kids lose their minds with excitement. Here's the best part. You can experience both shows in one epic night. Perfect for families, couples, or even your company party bus. Because yes, limos and party buses are totally welcome. Per vehicle pricing keeps it affordable, but grab your tickets online now because these shows are selling fast. Visit GoBerts.com for tickets, times, and all the details. Go-Bert's Farm, where Christmas dreams come to life.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-367-2816. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-367-2816. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-367-2816. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-367-2816 or biglou.com.
Nothing makes a gathering great like Eggland's Best Eggs. They're just so delicious with better nutrition too. For us, it's eggs any style, as long as they're the best. Eggland's Best.
We're checking a few trouble spots in the Team Hawkburg Traffic Center this morning. On the Dan Ryan, an accident blocking the right lane if you're outbound before 95th Street. On the Stevenson, it is slow going on the inbound off-ramp to inbound Dan Ryan. Watch for stop and go from Ashland Avenue on the Stevenson. Checking travel times, about a 15-minute ride from the Edens outbound from Montrose to Lake Cook. 20-minute drive on the Kennedy inbound from O'Hare to the Byrne Interchange. On the Eisenhower, about a 5-minute backup if you're outbound from the old post office to Wolf. A few delays in the Dan Ryan Express lanes inbound between 43rd and the Stevenson Expressway. Also, the Dan Ryan local lanes inbound creeping up with traffic lights between Pershing and 18th Street. And in Willowbrook, an accident on Route 83 southbound between Bluff Road and Archer Avenue. This report is service of Mattress Firm. Need better sleep? Score huge deals on your perfect bed at Mattress Firm's Black Friday sale. Stop in today and let the sleep experts help you find the right upgrade for your unique needs. Mattress Firm, they make sleep easy. I'm John Cruz. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Now a check of the forecast from the National Weather Service.
Today, expect windy conditions with gusts exceeding 50 miles per hour. The sky will be mostly cloudy and temperatures will drop with a high reaching 34. Tonight will be mostly cloudy and breezy with a low of 27. Tomorrow, anticipate cold and breezy weather with more clouds than sunshine and a high of 32. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios.
Only the biggest stories, only the biggest guests, and only the biggest opinions. This is AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan Proft here. Mentioned this earlier in the week, the official disbanding of Doge. Are you saddened? 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line and text line. Our friend Jeffrey Tucker from the Brownstone Institute has a piece in the Journal. It's a Doge world. And I'm wearing Milkbone underwear. Wasn't that Norm Peterson's line? The Department of Government Efficiency officially disbanded. 8 months remaining in its mandate. Some Doge employees are now staffing other agencies. And, of course, the federal budget still grows unrestrained. I know the head of Office of Personnel Management says, well, it's not centralized anymore, but the principles are still out there and in full effect guiding the decision-making of cabinet-level secretaries and administrative officials. $2 trillion in cuts. That was the marker that was originally put down, remember? Remember that so long ago, like 9 months? $2 trillion. And, you want to put a marker down that is prodigious, and they did. Then it got cut to $1 trillion, and then maybe in the BBB you were at $150 billion, and then you had a $10 billion rescission package, and that was about it, wasn't it? Jeffrey Tucker recounting the heady days when we were brimming with optimism. They camped out in various bureaucracies, literally sleeping in the office and having food delivered. They cracked open the vaults of the U.S. Treasury for the first ever outside audit. They began using modern AI tools to locate waste and order cuts. Doge agents had unprecedented access and were feared by legacy civil servants. Then came the daily announcements and receipts documenting scandalous spending outrages, not all of which lived up to their original billing. But they were posted to Doge's new website and on X and shared with great enthusiasm by me, writes Jeffrey Tucker, and many others. Me too. The White House ordered a hiring freeze. OPM, Office of Personnel Management, began sending emails to the entire civil service asking what it is they actually do. I handle the customers. I'm a people person. Remember what did you do last week question that generated so much outrage? How dare you ask what I did for a week last week? Dare you ask me what I do? The two Bobs were in there asking difficult questions. And of course, this inevitably ran into politics and the distribution of power between the executive and legislative branches, which should have come as no surprise. You got to get Congress on board. And it should have been expository in terms of outing some of those big spending Republicans and holding them up for ridicule, putting pressure on them, because pressure moves politicians. The trick of politics, as Milton Friedman famously said, getting the wrong people to do the right thing. And that requires the application of pressure, so they they recalibrate what their self-interest is, because which is the same thing to say their survival instinct, because that's what they're really interested in, staying. The conflict between the executive and the legislative branches, in addition, of course, to the outside litigation, that also was entirely predictable. The conflict directly affected DOJ's work, Jeffrey Tucker writes. They could not make real cuts without having them ratified by Congress. The work triggered at least 20 significant court cases that are trying to thread the needles of authority. Well, that's also good. You know, so much of this is ultimately going to get litigated, so let's get to it. And let's reestablish the lines of demarcation with respect to the bases of power in the competing branches. The principles of DOJ remain alive and well, right, says Office of Personnel Management Director Scott Cooper. Tucker says to that might be so, but it is impossible not to be disappointed with the gap between the initial dreams and the results. In October, DOJ claimed to have saved American taxpayers $214 billion, or 5 to 10% of the original estimates. And that's dubious. But he asked, was it worth the effort? Certainly. The dream to clean up big government, however, awaits another opportunity. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. I agree with him. It's obviously worth the effort. I mean, we want it to be sustained and to extend beyond Trump's term and in perpetuity, frankly. There is another aspect of this, too. We talk about this a lot when we have John Tammany on the show, that so much of this is not just about spending cuts or ferreting out waste, fraud, and abuse, but it is defunding Leviathan, reducing actually the intake, to again put that pressure on to force difficult decisions, to ask the question, what is it that government should do? What is it that what is it that government should not do? And as we go through all of the things that government is trying to do, we start to break out should do, shouldn't do, and let us zero out the things we shouldn't do and reduce taxes accordingly. So we put some handcuffs on ourselves to not just expand other things we should do beyond necessity, or provide a pool of money that will act as an irresistible inducement to resuscitate things that we shouldn't be doing. I know this is sort of easy to lay out conceptually, and it's much more difficult to do given the diffuse sources of power that are in competition with one another. But you have to lay out a framework, an action plan, and then act accordingly. And it seems to me the whole thing was a bit haphazard. Initially, when Musk and Trump were properly aligned, it got off to a good start and it was exciting. And then, there were personality conflicts and the thing got away from both men a little bit. And it turned out to be a relative disappointment. But, there are going to be fits and starts with these things. And this is not a Trump thing or a Musk thing or a Trump and Musk thing. This has to be something that is more hands on deck, if you will. Why is this important? Well, I'll give you an example. This piece out of Reason magazine. In October of 2012, Hurricane Sandy made landfall near Atlantic City. We remember. Severe flooding in the East Coast, particularly Jersey and New York. That was when Chris Christie was in flagrante delicto with Obama, remember? The fifth most explosive tropical storm in U.S. history, $90 billion in damages. But more than 13 years later, taxpayers are still footing the bill for the federal government's mismanagement of the response. This according to the Transportation Department's OIG. In January of 2013, Congress approved more than $50 billion in aid for Sandy, for relief from Sandy. That included bailouts for wealthy Connecticut residents, appropriated $11 billion to Federal Transit Administration's Public Transportation Emergency Relief Program, $10 billion of which the FTA gave to states for hurricane recovery and resilience projects. The OIG report identifies more than $95 million in questionable costs. One example. In June of 17, a $90 million grant for design and construction for replacing commuter and light rail signal power and communication systems was awarded. The project was supposedly supposed to end in May of 28, but was granted an extension to operate through December of 2021. Even with the extension, the project was not finished when the OIG conducted its audit. As a result, the recipient had incurred approximately $52 million in project activity costs since its 2021 deadline. The expenditures were ineligible. However, because the recipient is working to extend its grant period with the agency, it allows the contractor to be reimbursed for these quote-unquote cost overruns of 100%. The OIG has also identified $3 billion in unspent funds across 28 active projects. This is 13 years ago. You know, this is the way that, and you could go on and get into the details, but I think you get the gist of it. And these are the way all of these programs are administered. The lack of like sort of real-time oversight of implementation of at least annualized assessments of how the spend that was allocated is actually being spent and what progress is occurring with various projects that were underwritten. And I mean, just all the basics. And this is rife throughout the federal government at every level, but we're talking about the federal government, so let's stick here because, of course, we'd love to see DOGE-style approaches or committees within state governments as well. I'd like to see it everywhere, frankly. So, I mean, it's like that. That's the kind of stuff that's a small thing, relatively speaking. 13 years, though, that's the... And this audit is coming out now, talking about these multi-year extensions and unauthorized expenditures or unauthorized cost overruns that are going to get reimbursed anyway. And over here, there's $3 billion in unspent, and there's all sorts of excuses for completion delays. It's so big, it's so unwieldy. There's so much money sloshing around that even well-intended administrators and personnel can't keep track of it. And then, of course, there are a lot of not so well-intentioned individuals who game the system or outright steal. Like Florida Congresswoman Sheila Cherfillis McCormick, who got indicted last week for stealing $5 million of FEMA funds. This is what she said per her indictment. This is great.
Your thoughts on the indictment, please. Well, it's an unjust indictment, and it seems like these intimidation tactics have been pervasive. We spent all week seeing different members getting censured, all in hopes of intimidating and kind of distracting from the Epstein files. And I look forward to my day in court so I can prove myself and actually state the truth. But if this is what Congress is becoming, where they're always trying to intimidate you, scare tactics, especially attacking minorities, black and brown people, then we're going to have to keep fighting for the district. And everybody has been giving me so much support, and we're going to keep fighting until the district gets what it needs, which is fair prices, housing, and fair representation of Congress.
Yeah, it's racist, and she's going to keep fighting until the district gets what it needs. What it needs is a conviction, and that's what it's going to get. It's going to get a new congressman. I have a pretty strong feeling she is going to be convicted. Miami Herald did a profile on the spending of the $5 million in FEMA funds that the good congresswoman obtained through her consulting company. By the way, the self-dealing that goes on, too, it's a whole nother area. This is the waste, fraud, and abuse area, of course. You have a sitting member of Congress who is also a federal government contractor. Any conflict there? Anybody see? $5 million in funds. She purchased a $109,000 3.14 carat yellow diamond ring with a $5 million. $109,000 3-carat diamond ring. This is all about racism. Sure it is. Picking on minorities. Yeah, Menendez tried that too. Robert, up in New Jersey. You can visit him in federal prison. Maybe they'll do a male-female mixer for former politicians. $2.4 million to her consulting company out of the $5 million that was allocated FEMA. $1.2 million bank transfer to an account managed by her relatives. $830,000 transfer into a separate account where she was an authorized signer. $334,000 deposit into the bank account of an individual who is accused of having coordinated straw donor contributions to the good congresswoman. And $109,000 deposit to a bank account linked to her brother's consulting company. Well, it's a family affair. But, in case you think, this is just, a bunch of allied professionals distributing the resources to ensure implementation of the plan that was awarded the $5 million and provide the provision of services. Yeah, but then you have that $109,000 3-carat diamond ring, and that's a little bit more difficult to explain away, isn't it? How that fits into anything under what FEMA authorizes expenditures for? The end of Doge is a problem, but the reality is, you just have to be honest, that this is something I said prior to the election, most pointedly in the direction of Vance after his debate with Walz. After Trump, there's going to be I think there's going to be a debate in the Republican Party. And it seems to me there's a fundamental philosophical divide, which is whether you think government is a force for good or you think it is a necessary evil, as our founders described it, and most notably Washington. Because if you think it's a force for good, then you're in the business of, government as an active interventionist player in our economy and people's lives. And if you think it's a necessary evil, then you're for a restrained government that is limited to sort of the black letter confines of the Constitution and is mostly a negative restraint on people infringing upon other people's rights, setting the rules of the game, ensuring equal protection under the law, and is not in the business of taking equity stakes in private companies, and is not in the business of playing venture capitalists, and is not in the business of trying to secure ever and ever more revenue from productive people and enterprises to fund all sorts of gambits, and is serious about doing more than modest trimming on the margins, which is what has occurred this year in the first year of Trump 2.0. At some point, we're going to have that philosophical conversation. We're going to have to chart a course, at least in terms of where the critical mass of the party wants to go. You can't just continue to say that the red menace and the $38 trillion in debt and probably $200 trillion when you count unfunded liabilities. Talk about how it imperils our sovereignty and, by extension, America's future as the global hegemon, and then continue to act with the profligacy that both parties have acted with over the last 100 years. Certainly since the, maybe a little bit more, I'd say since the implementation of the income tax, 1913. I think that conversation, that debate is coming. And for me, at least, it can't come soon enough. Dan Proft, Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hear about the big stories of the day, then talk about them right here on Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
If you're looking to purchase a new home or refinance your existing home, you need to call Team Hochberg, your trusted local lender. Zeke, self-employed, called to refinance his $1 million home after being rejected by 3 lenders. Zeke contacted me after hearing me explain how I helped another self-employed listener who was also rejected due to lack of income. I helped Zeke secure an $800,000 cash-out refinance using the 12-month average of Zeke's business bank statements. Let's review. Zeke called to refinance his home after being rejected by 3 lenders, and we helped Zeke refinance using the deposits into his business bank statements. If you're self-employed and want to work with mortgage professionals who understand self-employed borrowers, call Team Hochberg at 855-563-2843 or visit 560david.com. Team Hochberg's helped thousands of self-employed listeners, but we can't help if you don't call 855-563-2843 and that website you love, 560david.com. Lower.com, equal housing lender, NMLS 1124061.
Listen up. Pain doesn't just hurt your body, it steals your life. I know, because I've seen it with people I care about. Maybe you're dealing with it right now. Here's what I like about Dr. Ashley Caravelli and QC Kinetics. They get that. They're not pushing surgery. They're not handing out pills. They're using your own body's own healing power to fix what's broken. What they are doing is cutting edge. I've talked to people who've been through this. There are real results to be gained here. No going under the knife, no medication fog, no sitting on the couch recovering. Just your body doing what it was designed to do, heal itself. QC Kinetics gives you long-term relief. Make 2026 the year you get back to living without pain. They've got weekend appointments, free consultations, and you can use your HSA or FSA spending accounts. Again, your first consultation is free, so don't hesitate to call out to find more. 312-827-6261 is the number. That number again, 312-827-6261. Once more, 312-827-6261.
AM 560, The Answer.
Coming up at 7:07, we'll talk to Pastor Corey Brooks, see how his walk across America is going, get some Thanksgiving reflections, talk public safety too, of course. That's at 7:07, Pastor Corey Brooks. It is now 7 o'clock on AM 560 WIND, Chicago.
The big day before Thanksgiving travel rush is on. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News, and so far there are only about 600 flight delays, just 25 cancellations.
Right now, things are moving smoothly, but we're keeping a nervous eye on the weather.
Fox's Jonathan Serri at Atlanta's airport the day after storms rolled through there,
forcing the temporary evacuation of the control tower. Another air traffic control site took over until staff were able to return about 10 minutes later. Now, as we speak, we're also keeping a nervous eye on the weather in the upper Midwest, where they have blizzard warnings issued. Snow expected to begin today and last through Black Friday.
Now, that's in Wisconsin and northern Michigan. There's also wintry weather now or in the forecast in parts of Minnesota, Ohio, and western New York, making driving difficult. And that's how most of the over 81 million Americans will go in what AAA predicts will be record Thanksgiving travel. A disaster in Hong Kong has gotten worse. It's now 13 people dead in a massive fire still burning through several high-rise apartment buildings. Others feared trapped. More than 700 people have been evacuated. President Trump's special envoy Steve Witkoff will go to Russia again next week, pushing a peace plan Ukraine's agreed to the core terms of after the president says they fine-tuned it.
You know what the deadline for me is? When it's over. And I think everybody's tired of fighting at this moment. They're losing too many people.
Israel's turned over 15 more Palestinian bodies the day after Hamas handed over a 26th dead hostage, Dror Or, whose body was held in Gaza after being killed during the October 2023 terror attack that triggered the war and ended by a ceasefire agreement. Hamas still has to return 2 more bodies to fully comply. Israel's gone on the attack in the West Bank.
It's being described as a wide-scale counter-terror operation in the northern West Bank. The raid involved the Israeli military and the country's Shin Bet security agency and targeted several Palestinian towns and villages.
That's Fox's Jonathan Savage. America's listening to Fox News.
Good morning. It is 36 degrees here in Chicago on AM 560 The Answer. I'm Stace Keene in the AM 560 newsroom. President Donald Trump is calling out judges in Illinois after a man with more than 70 previous arrests was charged with setting a Chicago train passenger on fire. During a speech at the White House steps on Tuesday, the president mentioned the alleged terrorist attack against a mass transportation system. A suspect with a long criminal history allegedly left the victim critically injured by setting her on fire aboard that Chicago Transit Authority train.
The court records we've obtained show that this career criminal, Lawrence Reed, was repeatedly violating the curfew for his electronic monitoring, and the Cook County Chief Judge's Office was being alerted. 7 times it happened in the month of November. 4 times the system showed an escalated alert. Now, on Wednesday, November 12th, the record shows Reed stayed out all night. Similar violation on Friday. On Monday, November 17th, the night Bethany McGee was set on fire, the electronic monitoring system again showed an escalated alert that Lawrence Reed was on the move, and he kept ignoring his curfew the next day when he was finally arrested.
Morgan Geyser was in court in Posen yesterday where she waived extradition back to Wisconsin. Geyser arrived in Posen by bus after she escaped from a group home over the weekend. Geyser had been released from a mental institution earlier this year. She was found not guilty by reason of mental disease in the stabbing death of a classmate when she was just 12 years old. The victim was rescued by a passerby after being left out in the woods. Geyser had said she stabbed her friend to please the fictional character Slender Man. This report is a service of AlmostFreeTeeth.com. Think full mouth dental implants are too expensive? Think again, not at AlmostFreeTeeth.com. With medical insurance, you could save thousands and receive your finally affordable dream smile. Check if you qualify today at AlmostFreeTeeth.com. A check of the roads is coming up in 2 minutes on AM 560 The Answer.
Hugh Hewitt breaks down the latest Epstein files.
I've looked at the emails they released today. They do not do anything to implicate Donald Trump. In fact, they exonerate Donald Trump. There's no proof, but there were lawsuits, many lawsuits by many plaintiffs' lawyers that would have loved to have sued Donald Trump. There's no there. And they're talking about it because they don't have any ideas, and Obamacare is a complete and total failure.
The Hugh Hewitt Show, afternoons at 2, right before Sean Thompson at 4 on AM 560. The Answer.
Dan Proft here to tell you about an opportunity for you to promote your business and to make a difference this Christmas season. I'm talking about our Food for the Poor Business Benefactor Program. We've partnered with Food for the Poor to provide life-saving food and water for thousands of children and their families in Latin America and the Caribbean. Your business can be a part of this effort. Become a Food for the Poor business benefactor by making a $2,500 tax-deductible donation to Food for the Poor. That donation will help more than 30 children for an entire year. And when you do that, AM 560 will give you 40 one-minute commercials to air here on AM 560 The Answer between 5 a.m. and 8 p.m. Monday through Friday at no additional cost to you. To take advantage of this deal, just call John Gallagher at 847-472-8950. Again, that's 847-472-8950. One more time, the number, 847-472-8950. Or go to 560theanswer.com/food for the poor. That website again, 560theanswer.com/food for the poor.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. If someone talked you into buying something really silly and you want to get out of that silly little thing, my advice, get the facts. Call me and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit absolutely free. Inside, you'll learn how timeshare works and all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free timeshare exit information kit. 800-809-7171. That's 800-809-7171.
Julia owed the IRS thousands.
I was paralyzed with fear.
Then
I heard a commercial for Optima Tax Relief.
Optima Tax Relief is the leading tax resolution firm. A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau and experts in the Fresh Start Initiative.
Optima Tax Relief settled my IRS tax bill.
Call Optima now for a free consultation.
It was amazing.
Call 800-926-0155. 800-926-0155.
Optima Tax Relief.
Visit OptimaTaxRelief.com for details.
Hey, it's Scott Tucker and my new co-host,
Amy Jacobson,
on AM 560. We wanted you to know that we have a special show every Sunday morning at 7 a.m. here on AM 560, The Answer. It is a Retirement Dakota with Scott Tucker and
Amy Jacobson.
It's every Sunday morning from 7 to 9 a.m. 2-hour show, 2-hour radio extravaganza. Amy, we're going to tantalize the listening public and listening private with all kinds of retirement planning information. So tune in at AM 560 Sunday mornings at 7 a.m.
In the Team Hawkbird Traffic Center, the Thanksgiving travel rush is on in Chicagoland. We've got a few issues out and about on the Stevenson inbound off-ramp to the inbound Dan Ryan. Expect delays on that exit ramp. Slow traffic on the Dan Ryan Express lanes if you're inbound between Pershing and Stevenson. Also, traffic creeping along if you're on the local lanes inbound Dan Ryan from 47 to 18. On the Kennedy, about a 5-minute delay if you're outbound between Lawrence and Harlem. Also on the Kennedy inbound between Addison and Kimball, about a 5-minute backup there. Travel times on the Edens inbound from Lake Cook to Montrose, 15 minutes. Finally, outbound train service suspended on the Metra North Line outbound at Hubbard Woods. There's an obstruction on the track, so expect delays there. This traffic update quickly delivered by Quick Delivery Service. For reliable same-day delivery, Quick Delivery will customize a logistics plan to pick up your items and move them safely to their destination. Trust their 40 years of experience for peace of mind. Get a quote at quickdelivery.com. I'm John Cruz. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Now a check of the forecast from the National Weather Service.
Today, expect windy conditions with gusts exceeding 50 miles per hour. The sky will be mostly cloudy and temperatures will drop with a high reaching 34. Tonight will be mostly cloudy and breezy with a low of 27. Tomorrow, anticipate cold and breezy weather with more clouds than sunshine and a high of 32. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan Proft here. President Trump yesterday pardoned 2 turkeys, as presidents are wont to do in advance of Thanksgiving. The turkeys Trump pardoned Waddle and Gobble, which also turned out to be the nickname for J.B. Pritzker when he was at Georgetown. Trump also addressed Chicago, following in the footsteps of Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy. He specifically addressed the gruesome crimes committed against Bethany McGee on that CTA Blue Line train. Here's what he had to say.
You saw all the crime that took place last night, the night before. The woman with the burning, they burned the woman. To be talking about that now, they burned this beautiful woman riding in a train. A man was arrested 72 times. 72 times, think of that. And they'll let him out again. The liberal judges will let him out again. But we're ready to go. You know, we've been moving toward Chicago. We have a governor that thinks it's wonderful that only like 7 people were killed this week. But we are moving toward doing, and we're going to, if crime gets, it's horrible what's happening in Chicago. We could make Chicago a safe city in a period of 4 weeks. In a period of 8 weeks, 9 weeks, 10 weeks, it would be totally safe. And the people of Chicago want us to go there. And if you look at the crime that's taken place in Chicago in the last 2 weeks, just take a look. It's on the front page of every newspaper. It's out of control. The mayor is incompetent, and the governor is a big fat slob.
The incompetent mayor and the big fat slob. Yeah. And the big fat slob, Governor Waddle and Gobble, he had this to say. He's finally, the dogged Illinois political press corps finally caught up with him and asked him about the Safety Act. And of course, you know, he's such a reasonable person. Of course he is open to tweaking it.
Of course, if there are changes that need to be, look, we do this all the time in Springfield, right? Where there are laws that have been on the books for 20 years that need tweaking because there's something that somebody missed in the original, writing of it. And so always willing to look at that. I can't speak to the specifics of that case that you're raising, but just to say, of course, and I've said this about the Safety Act before, and about really every bill that gets passed in Springfield. Sometimes bills get passed and everybody that votes for it knows that there needs to be a trailer bill or a tweak that needs to be made afterward. So I think everybody is open to listening to what changes might need to be made.
So open-minded. Oh, shucks. Can't speak to the particulars of the Bethany McGee case? How is that? How is it you can't speak to the particulars of the Bethany McGee case? Where the hell have you been? Not to mention, hundreds of other cases over the last 3 years that fit the same profile. Repeat violent offender, shouldn't have been on the streets, commits another horrible crime. Somebody who was victimized by a repeat violent offender could have been prevented from being victimized if we had a criminal justice system that removed serial predators from the public, from the streets. But don't all this of course we'll look at, of course we're open to conversation. No, you're not. This is what he said February 21st of 2022 when he signed the Safety Act legislation into law. This is how he characterized people who were opposed to it, people who were raising the very concerns that materialized and then some over the last 3 years.
Opponents of this law don't want any change, don't believe there is injustice in the system, and are preying upon fear of change to lie and fearmonger in defense of the status quo.
Right. 100 of the state's 102 county state's attorneys, all the county sheriffs, all the law enforcement, all the sensible people who expressed concerns that, as I said, had materialized beyond even our worst fears. They are liars and fearmongers. So who's the liar now? And what is the human cost that has been imposed by J.B. Pritzker's serial lying? He also said this on that day.
All Illinoisans will live in a safer and more just state with this law on the books.
Has that beautiful lie been realized? For more on this, pleased to be joined by Pastor Corey Brooks. As you know, Pastor Corey is doing a walk across America. Hopefully his foot has been repaired. Gruesome. Last time we talked to him, he posted it online. I was horrified. Anyway, Pastor Corey Brooks, of course, is doing this walk across America to raise money for this massive, it's more than just a community center, a community/educational center that he's building on the south side. He's a senior pastor at New Beginnings Church, and you probably know him most notably as the CEO of Project Hood. Corey, thanks for joining us again. Appreciate it.
Hey, I'm glad to be on the show. Thanks as always. I appreciate it.
Yeah, so, and I don't want to forget about this other case, too, that we talked a lot about last week. The Hatter family on the south side, the mom and the young boy who are accosted by elementary school kids. That was, I mean, just the damage wasn't as severe, and I'm not minimizing it. But I also don't want to forget it, because watching elementary school age kids beat up a mom and her son is also shocking and disgusting. But I mean, just talk about the culture here under the incompetent mayor and the big fat slob.
So we have a culture of violence. We have a culture of degradation. So much is going on in our city, and it's all because of the leadership. You know, I'm always constantly saying that everything rises and falls on leadership. When you have poor leadership, you're going to have a poor city, and what we're experiencing from our mayor and our governor is exactly that. It's unfortunate that the citizens of Chicago and the citizens of Illinois have to continue this cycle, but it's going to continue unless we decide as people to vote them out and put people in place that are going to be accountable and who are going to do the job for us, who are going to make sure that all of our funds are not going toward illegal citizens, that making sure that when individuals do crimes, they get locked up and put away for those crimes, making sure that our schools are effective and efficient. And we need to make that happen.
Well, you know, what about with all the people that you speak with on a routine basis, and, you know, your handle, particularly on your neighborhood, the neighborhoods that you serve. I mean, is this, you know, sort of my main qualification for being in office is that I hate Trump? Is that wearing thin at all?
It is wearing thin because people are starting to see right through the rhetoric. I mean, a lot of the things that they're putting the blame on President Trump for have nothing to do with what's going on in Chicago. Every single day, we're listening to our mayor say something about racism or past injustices are the reason why we are experiencing the violence or experiencing the poverty or experiencing the budget or whatever the issue is for the day. He's always blaming it on racism and President Trump. That wears thin after so much time. People start to see right through it. And I think the citizens of Chicago are understanding that we have a very incompetent mayor who is not fit for the job.
Well, the incident outside the elementary school on the south side, you know, it was interesting to see one former CPS principal in particular basically said, like, look, here's what I would be, you know, essentially cracking skulls where we would get a handle on this straight away. This doesn't, there's no way that you could be unaware of an environment that was present that could produce a horrific incident like that. And so that, you know, so there's something fundamentally wrong, and it's a management problem, and by extension a culture problem. So, you know, this is a police matter to some extent because people were assaulted, and those are criminal acts that were committed. But it's also a institutional issue, and I wonder what you think about what should be done with respect to how CPS operates, how these elementary schools and, frankly, obviously high schools operate. And is this a moment where you could try to push some culture change here and you know, be real about the situation?
Yeah, you know, the CPS, especially on the south side and west side of Chicago that I know of, there is a lot of violence and a lot of bullying, and I believe that's one of the reasons why we have so many kids who are dropping out of school and wanting to quit and not wanting to participate because they don't feel safe. And there needs to be a whole cleaning of the house when it comes to CPS from the top down. I think we have to start with CTU and what they're trying to promote constantly. We have to move then through the school board and then to our teachers and principals and administrators. For instance, the kid that you were just talking about, he was a part of our summer program and our after-school program. His grandmother is a member of our church. This is not the first incident. This kid has been getting bullied, and his mother's been reporting it for some time. So the fact that you can have these incidents to go on and to be reported and still things not be done, this is a culture that's been set in CPS. And so, you know, anytime you start police out of the schools too, that's a problem.
So police in the school. Okay, sorry to interrupt, but I just want to stop there too, because we just had this story out of Newport, Rhode Island too. So Tony, Newport, Rhode Island, and it was you may have seen it. I know you're ambulating around the country. But so football players taking advantage of, mistreating a person with special needs who is also like an assistant coach. He's part of the team, and yet they treated him so badly and inhumanely. 4 people have been arrested. 4 of those kids have been arrested, and they should have been. So this is in a more upscale community, generally speaking, Newport, Rhode Island, of course. So it's like there's something else going. And then it's not just the 4 kids who abused him. It's also all the other guys on the football team did nothing. And so you're talking about this 9-year-old boy that goes to that Southside Elementary School, and we heard from his mom and his dad about what you just said. He'd been bullied before. I've been trying to talk to the school. They walk the other direction when they see me coming, she said. And it's like there's something else too. Like there's the character formation that's lacking. So you're always going to have bullies. That's just the nature of life. But
sure.
but nobody intervenes. Or nobody is on point. The adults are on point. They weren't. The football coaches clearly weren't at that high school in Newport, Rhode Island. And then the parents and the other kids too. Nobody's been taught to say you don't allow people to mistreat other people. You step in when you see that happening. You say something. That's just not present.
Absolutely. One of the things that I'm seeing as I walk around the country is exactly what you're saying. We've lost a moral compass. Anytime that you can allow bullying, whether it's in the upper class or lower class, and things not be done, that means that people have lost a moral compass. And one of the reasons why I'm walking across America is because I want to bring attention and awareness to those type of situations so that people can say, hey, we have to wake up in America, and we have to realize that we have to get back to good American wholesome living. And part of that is taking responsibility for our neighbors. Part of that is loving our neighbors. Part of that is having a moral compass and being accountable. And as you said, we need to make sure that our character is intact. We need to make sure that our young people have character, that they're living responsibly, and that they're being held accountable. But unfortunately, all across America, we're seeing this displayed of no moral compass.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Like police in the schools is a Band-Aid, right? If there's no there's no character formation at home or in the schools, then police is just in the schools as a Band-Aid. So I know we talked earlier in the week to a retired police lieutenant, John Garrido, and he's talked about like a snap curfew that should have been in place to try to at least prevent some of what occurred Friday night outside the Chicago theater. But again, a snap curfew where you got 300, 500, 800 young people converging on downtown. I mean, that's a Band-Aid when you have young people acting without restraint.
Yeah. Rampant and unharnessed sin is what I call it. And you're right that it is a Band-Aid. We have to get to the root of the problem. And the root of the problem is, first of all, we have an absence of God. Secondly, we have so many houses that are single-parent households, and the fathers are lacking their responsibilities. So there's so many issues that we're dealing with that need to be dealt with. And if we don't deal with them, we're going to continue to have this cycle. It's very unfortunate that, especially in urban America, that we keep seeing these issues over and over and over again, but they're a result of the same root problems that we keep talking about over and over and over. And until we do something about it, it's gonna just keep going down the same vicious road.
How's that kid doing? You said he's been part of your program. And I know his mom said he's traumatized and he can't sleep and this and that. How's he doing? Do you know?
Yeah, he's traumatized, can't sleep, but he's still smiling. And I was in town on this past weekend for our food giveaway, and so his father brought him by to be with his grandmother. So I was able to talk with him, give him a hug, and see him smile. But their family is doing good. Thankfully, this is one of the groups where the father is actively engaged, and that makes a difference. And unlike all those other kids, we haven't seen any of the fathers. But in this young boy's life, the father is actively engaged, and that's a good thing.
Yeah. So give us a status report on your walk across America. How are your feet? Where are you at?
So my feet are holding up for the time being. I'm in Raleigh, North Carolina. We're going to feed the homeless on Thursday there in Moore Square. downtown in Raleigh. We're going to pull up the big RV. We got some hot food we're going to feed. They allow the homeless in this one central square area. So we're going to be a blessing to them. But that's where I am in Raleigh, North Carolina, and headed toward Fayetteville.
All right, Pastor Corey Brooks. You can follow him on X, of course, Corey B. Brooks. Project Hood, projecthood.org if you want to support Corey's effort and what he's doing on the south side of Chicago. Corey Brooks, senior pastor of New Beginnings Church of Chicago. Corey, good to have you again. Thanks for joining us. Happy Thanksgiving.
Thanks as always. I appreciate it.
And he joined us in the Turnkey.pro answer line.
It's news, opinion, insight. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Sean Thompson here, and I'm with attorney Bert Hochberg from the law firm of Schiller, Ducanto, and Fleck. We're talking about divorce arbitration. This is not really a new, or is it a new, innovative way to go through divorce?
Arbitration has been around for decades. It's completely legit and available to resolve divorce cases. The litigants and their lawyers sign an arbitration agreement. They identify what the issues are, and we set up dates, and we determine what experts and witnesses there may be. Arbitration is a hearing, a trial that is intended to finish a case efficiently with limited appeal, with a binding decision, and it's confidential, so it has some great characteristics.
I think it's a unique alternative to divorce. For more information, please visit sdflaw.com and type Bert Hochberg into the search box. That's sdflaw.com or call direct 773-255-6150.
Let me tell you about a proud new sponsor of Chicago's Morning Answer, Access One IT Services and Support. Chicago business owners, pay attention. Your phone, internet, and IT should work well 24/7. When it doesn't, who are you calling? An overseas help desk? Don't do that. If you want clear, reliable local experts, consider Chicago's best, Access One. Access One has been powering Chicago businesses with secure, reliable IT solutions for more than 30 years from their headquarters in the West Loop. Whether it's voice over IP phones, dedicated internet, managed cybersecurity, cloud backups, or 24/7 support, Access One has you covered. Access One is Chicago-owned, Chicago-run, and serves thousands of companies from Naperville to the North Shore and everywhere in between. They're rated top 5% in customer satisfaction and trusted by law firms, clinics, tech startups, manufacturers, and more. If you're in business, make sure your IT works well every day. Start a conversation about your business needs today. Call Access One at 800-654-1555. That number again, 800-654-1555. Or visit them online at accessoneinc.com. Spell out one, O-N-E. That's accessoneinc.com. And tell them AM 560 sent you when you do.
The biggest time of the year for stores is during the Christmas season. And if you deal in collector coins, the main source for inventory is from people like you. We want to have our showcases fully stocked before Christmas. Last Christmas, gold was the highest ever recorded in its 5,000-year run. We don't always know if precious metals will go up or down. We're saying that if you don't appreciate that collection Grandpa left, you may want to at least find out what you can get for it. Fox Valley Coins is the trusted place where people come to buy and sell their precious metals, rare coins, and paper money. We're especially interested in purchasing now through the first week of December. And we'll still be buying after we get back from the Christmas break, but we need to purchase now. Fox Valley Coins is located one light north of I-88 on Route 59 on the Naperville-Warrenville border. We'll be closed Christmas Eve through Monday, January 4th, celebrating Jesus' birth with family and for year-end inventory. Merry Christmas from Fox Valley Coins. Family-owned integrity since 1981. FoxValleyCoins.com.
So you've decided to get a new mattress, but what about new pillows? I mean, your pillows have been through a lot. Constant flipping, greasy hair, and so much drool. And let's face it, your old pillow has more lumps than Aunt Judy's holiday gravy. This Black Friday, Hassellus Mattress has your back, along with your head and neck, too. Through December 2nd, purchase a new Sealy Posturepedic or Beautyrest mattress, and Hassellus will give you a free adjustable base and a pair of super supportive and incredibly comfortable pillows. Plus, since Hassellus showrooms are employee-free, our prices on Beautyrest and Sealy Posturepedic are way less. Others sell a Queen Emeryville A for $1,374, but Hassellus has it for only $1,086. And for Black Friday, now through December 2nd, we're throwing in a free adjustable base and 2 free pillows. Free next day delivery, too. Who knows? You may be one good pillow away from becoming a morning person. Find an employee-free showroom near you at Hassellus.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
Coming up at 7:37, President Trump says he is disinclined to extend those Obamacare subsidies that were allegedly central to the Dem Socialists' shutdown gambit. We'll start there with economist Steve Moore at 7:37. Now we check the headlines.
Good morning. It is 34 degrees here in Chicago on AM 560, The Answer. I'm Stace Keene in the AM 560 newsroom. A Chicago chiropractor has been sentenced to nearly 6 years in federal prison for billing a private insurer more than $2 million in non-existent services. Prosecutors say Clarence W. Brown III submitted more than 6,000 fraudulent claims to Blue Cross Blue Shield of Illinois. It's going to be a busy weekend at Chicago's O'Hare and Midway airports. Chicago Department of Aviation saying the two airports could see nearly 2 million travelers from now through Sunday night. Officials say that Sunday is going to be the busiest of all the days, with 700 flights scheduled to carry nearly 600,000 passengers. And Chicago police are looking for a group of smash-and-grab robbers. According to reports, surveillance cameras caught 4 suspects as they crashed a white sedan into a liquor store on Southwestern Avenue early yesterday morning. The group proceeded to steal the cash register along with merchandise before they fled in the silver SUV. There are no suspects in custody at this time. This report is a service of AlmostFreeTeeth.com. Think full mouth dental implants are too expensive? Think again, not at AlmostFreeTeeth.com. With medical insurance, you could save thousands and receive your finally affordable dream smile. Check if you qualify today at AlmostFreeTeeth.com. A check of the roads is coming up in 2 minutes on AM 560, The Answer.
Mike Gallagher sees it as a huge distraction.
Look, this president changes his mind when he feels like it. And he evidently has changed his mind on releasing the Epstein files. It's just kind of a strange, all of it is bizarre. It gives me a headache. There's important things to deal with.
The Mike Gallagher Show, weekdays at 9 on AM 560, The Answer.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
I'm Robert Anderson, president of McLaughlin Body Company in the Quad Cities, and a customer of Signature Bank. When our 100-year-old family-owned manufacturing company was looking for a new bank, we found an excellent partner with Signature Bank. Signature Bank understands the challenges with manufacturing in today's highly competitive environment. We recently participated in the New Markets Tax Credit Program, and we're fortunate to have the experts at Signature Bank help us navigate the complexities of this program. With Signature Bank's support, we were able to expand not only our facility, but ultimately our business. If you're looking for a trusted banking partner for your business, look to Chicago's own Signature Bank.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. To learn more about turning your business vision into reality, visit signaturebank.bank. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Salem News Channel is America's fastest growing conservative TV network.
It's an absolute crazy day.
Home to the largest lineup of free speech champions anywhere. Delivering in-depth insight and unapologetic opinion on today's biggest news stories.
Americans aren't going to put up with this anymore.
SNC brings you the news that matters, told with integrity and clarity. Watch Salem News Channel free 24/7 on your television. Stream now on Pluto TV.
Check off the wish list with instant savings and free battery offers on select steel tools. Shop online or in store.
A busy travel day on the roads, but traffic moving along nicely. We've got some issues in the Stevenson this morning. Inbound, the off-ramp to the inbound Dan Ryan. Watch for some delays in that exit ramp. Slow traffic on the Eisenhower if you're inbound between St. Charles and the Tri-State Tollway. Also on the Ike outbound. We've got a 5-minute backup if you're between Des Plaines and First Avenue. Let's take you to the Kennedy with some travel times. It is a 26-minute drive outbound from the Byrne interchange to O'Hare. On the Dan Ryan inbound from 95th to the Burn interchange, it'll take you about a 13-minute drive in. The Edens outbound from Montrose to Lake Cook, 14-minute drive. We've got that accident still in Marengo, Route 23, south of Kishwaukee Valley Road. And issues on the train. Service suspended on the Metra Union Pacific North Line outbound at Hubbard Woods due to an obstruction on the tracks. The support a service of Macy's Backstage. Macy's Backstage, a whole department store inside your Macy's store where you can find so many holiday essentials, all for under $25. With new arrivals every day, you never know what amazing deals you'll find. Don't wait. Find a location at Macy'sBackstage.com. I'm John Cruz. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Now a check of the forecast from the National Weather Service.
Today, expect windy conditions with gusts exceeding 50 miles per hour. The sky will be cloudy and temperatures will be colder with a few flurries possible. The high will reach 34 degrees. Tonight will be mostly cloudy and breezy with a low of 27 degrees. Tomorrow will remain cold and breezy with more clouds than sunshine and a high of 32 degrees. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios.
If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan Proft here. President Trump, with the press gaggle on Air Force One, was asked about the extension of Obamacare subsidies to that cohort that got a 2-year deal under the Biden administration, like $120,000 up to $500,000 in household income. It's set to expire at the end of this month. This was the basis, the Dem Socialists said, for their shutdown. So Trump says he's in conversations with the other side. However, he is disinclined to extend those subsidies. Take a listen.
We're looking at different alternatives. I mean, I like my plan the best. Don't give any money to the insurance companies. Give it to the people directly. Let them go out and buy their own health care plan. And we're looking at that. If that can work, we're looking at that. That's sort of take it off. That's what I like. Don't give the money to the insurance companies. They go out and buy their own plan. You give the money to the people. I like it the best.
Are you planning to extend those subsidies?
I'd rather not. Somebody said I want to extend them for 2 years. I don't want to extend them for 2 years. I'd rather not extend them at all. And maybe some kind of an extension may be necessary to get something else done. Because the Unaffordable Care Act has been a disaster. It's a disaster. And I said it was when it first got put in. Unfortunately, we lost a couple of Republican votes, and the Democrats voted for it. It's a Democrat plan. And the premiums are going up, and it's the Democrats' fault. But, you know, they are negotiating with me. It's very interesting. They want to see something happen.
Who are you talking to on the Democrats' side? I can't tell you who, but we have a lot of Democrats want this plan to happen. They would love to see the money go to the people, and the people go out and get their own health care. And there would be nothing like it.
That sounds good, but maybe there's a better approach, even short term. Michael Cannon from the Cato Institute, in an op-ed, is concerned about a woodwork effect. The woodwork effect means when a government program extends eligibility and benefits, people come out of the woodwork to sign up. And he writes, taking money from taxpayers only to give it back with strings attached isn't the way to empower consumers. That woodwork effect could actually increase Obamacare spending. Fortunately, though, he argues, Trump already demonstrated in his first term how to make coverage affordable for millions without destabilizing Obamacare or costing taxpayers a dime. Exempting from Obamacare, which the Unaffordable Act, as he calls it, appropriately, exempting from Obamacare was short-term limited duration insurance. That exemption shields those plans from Obamacare regulations that cause premiums to double for healthy enrollees that ration care for the sick. In 2018, Trump removed those restrictions and freed those plans to offer greater protection. He clarified that federal law allows short-term plans to last 36 months and to offer renewal guarantees. Renewal guarantees give patients who develop expensive illnesses the perpetual right to re-enroll in their health plans at healthy person premiums. This approach that Trump took in his first term was upheld by the courts. So that's the direction he might consider taking. Meanwhile, this was great. If you didn't see this, you should see it just because Betsy Quick over at CNBC was so properly disgusted and dismissive with the hackery of Hakeem Jeffries, who is just really bad at his job, and I don't think he has any idea what he's talking about when it comes to healthcare and so many other topics. This was their exchange about the Obamacare subsidies and said extension.
To satiate, if you want to get done, you are going to need at least some Republicans to come over. Why not start with a 1-year extension or potentially even a 2-year extension?
Well, Leader Schumer offered a 1-year extension in the context of trying to end the Trump Republican shutdown.
Yeah, that's different. I'm talking about what you have now. Let's not go back to what's done in the past and what has not been extended. If you want to get something that has actually done, you need to do something that will have bipartisan.
You can ask me the question. You can ask me the question. I'll provide the answer.
Answer the question instead of going back.
I'll provide the answer. No. I'm providing an answer in order to provide context. Republicans have repeatedly refused to take yes for an answer. It was a very reasonable multi-year extension that was offered. It was a 1-year straight extension plus a multi-year process through a bipartisan commission to more permanently resolve the Affordable Care Act issue. So having that context is absolutely important, regardless of what you may think.
It's important context to make me realize that I don't think you want to get a deal done. I think this is something where you'd like to see the rates go higher and allow the Republicans to hang themselves with that. Is that the answer?
That's absolutely a ridiculous assertion. And really, shame
3 years
on you.
Is not going to get passed, so what do you do?
Shame on you.
Yeah, shame on her. Yeah, right. I mean, I don't agree with Betsy Quick. And I agree with Trump. I'm disinclined to extend the subsidies, but Hakeem Jeffries, she had him sussed out pretty good on that. On the politics he's playing, that piece of it. Stephen Moore is an economist. He's the author of The Trump Economic Miracle and the Plan to Unleash Prosperity Again, co-authored with Art Laffer. He joins us now. Stephen, thanks for joining us.
Well, happy Thanksgiving. How are you doing?
Same to you. So Obamacare subsidies, Trump is disinclined. What do you think about his approach, and maybe a better approach is what Michael Cannon argues for those short-term policies?
Well, a couple of observations. One is, we were the ones who first came up with we were the ones who started calling it the Unaffordable Care Act a few months ago. Right. I'm glad to see Trump has picked up on that. It is the Unaffordable Care Act. I mean, it's so interesting, Dan. If that was passed in 2010, so we've had 15 years of experience with the Affordable Care Act, and over that time, overall health care costs have in most states doubled, almost all states doubled, and many states tripled. So, that doesn't sound like it's made healthcare very affordable. And it's people are, I don't know about you, Dan, but we just got our statement on our premiums next year. They're going up 12%. And some people are seeing 15 to 20% premium increases. It's getting outrageous how much healthcare costs. Now, let's start with this. Let's make this crystal clear. Okay, Dan, I'm going to make it really simple. You and I probably couldn't devise a stupider way to pay for health care than the way we do it in America. It is so stupid. We could probably get better health care outcomes at half the cost if we just used the free market system and got the government the hell out of the picture. And we could just subsidize people, low-income people to get care. But we've created this government-run monster that, by the way, the people who are getting rich off of this are the insurance companies. Did you know, Dan, the biggest supporters of extending all these Obamacare subsidies were the insurance companies?
Well, they wrote Obamacare, so you would think they'd want to continue to prop it up.
They want more of it. So it is all you need to do. I mean, let's keep this very simple because we made it too complicated. Why do you have fire insurance on your home, folks? Hopefully, almost all of you do, because if a very, very rare event happens that your house burns down, you have insurance for it. You have insurance for rare kind of occurrences that could wipe you out, and that's why we have insurance on your house. But you don't have insurance for taking your car in for an oil change, do you? I hope not.
No.
So in other words, my point is what we should have in this country is basically the people pay for their health care out of pocket. You have a competitive market. This would drive costs down. You say, gee, if I go to this doctor, he's going to pay me $600. He's going to charge me $600. This doctor is only going to charge me $400. Or, this drug costs me $800. This one costs me $400. Or this, you have places in Washington, D.C. where you go to one hospital and they'll charge, say $800 for an MRI, and the next one will be charging $1,800 for an MRI. But we don't shop around. So my point is, let's move to something really simple where people just pay out of pocket up to a certain amount, and then you have insurance for that. And then you'd have competition, you'd have price transparency, and you'd bring down costs, and you would get a better quality of care. We have nothing like that. We have first dollar coverage for most people. So when's the last time, Dan, you can tell I feel passionately about this. When's the last time you went to a doctor or a hospital or even got a drug for some kind of sickness, and you asked how much it costs?
Right, I understand. I mean, this is what your buddy Steve Forbes has been saying for decades, right?
I know, and he's exactly right. I mean, it's just ridiculous. And so everybody's scamming the system, and the costs go up and up and up. And what do the Democrats want ultimately? They want what's called a single-payer system, where the government just pays for all the health care. Gee, that's gonna really turn out well.
So what's your intuition on what happens between now and the end of the year on this?
I think we are going to have a shutdown again.
You do?
Because the Democrats, yeah, I do. And I hope I'm wrong about this, but the Democrats seem pretty, from my friends over at the White House, they say the Democrats don't seem to be in the frame of mind of even compromising on this. You heard that conversation between Betsy Quick and Hakeem Jeffries. Did he sound like he wants to make a deal?
No. Especially not if Trump doesn't want to extend Obamacare subsidies for that small cohort at all.
Did you say, by the way, that the number 700% of the poverty level? You're going to have people making $250,000 getting health care subsidies from taxpayers
or more.
Yeah, it's crazy. So I think Trump is on the right track. We have to move towards high deductible plans with catastrophic insurance. By the way, the other stupid thing that the government has done, did you know that the quote Affordable Care Act makes, if you and I wanted, and your listeners wanted to just go out and say, look, I want to just opt out, I just want a catastrophic coverage plan that just covers me, for if I have a major event, like I get a bout of cancer or I have a chronic disease or I have a bad injury. You can't buy, it's illegal. It's illegal to buy that kind of plan.
Yeah, well, that's what Obamacare was, as we've been saying for the better part of the last 15 years, was a backdoor takeover of health insurance. You've got a state sanctioned oligopoly with these insurance companies. So I mean, he's right to go after the insurance companies, but it needs sort of a larger description of what has occurred and the path forward. Even and frankly, if it has to come in stages, like I know I can't get the whole loaf right away, but I want at least this much of the loaf, and then we can go from here to there to there.
You've got to admit that the liberals are very devious, and they're very, they've been very successful. So, you and I talked about this 15 years ago, that they wanted to jump over the whole river at once and end up with a single-payer system. And by the way, I have to say that the one guy who was honest about that was Bernie Sanders. He said, let's just have the government run the healthcare system. And then they said, well, no, we can't do this. So what they did is they put a stone in the middle of the river, and that was called Obamacare, and they jumped on that stone. And then the next leap is to get to a single-payer system. And so that's where we're at. We're paying way, way too much. The people are going to be so furious when they see their bills for healthcare next year, and it's in the bill is in the mail, folks. You're going to be paying 15 or 20% more next year for healthcare. It is going to bankrupt this country if we keep. And by the way, over the last 15 years, there's no evidence that all of this additional spending that we've done, Dan, on healthcare has actually improved health outcomes. In fact,
it's like talking about government K through 12 school systems.
Exactly, it's exactly like that. And so, here's an amazing statistic that if you compare people who don't have any insurance at all with people on Medicaid, there's no difference in their health outcomes.
Let's expand.
Where's all this money going? Seriously, we're spending $1 trillion a year at the federal level on healthcare. Where is all the money going? It's going to it's just a racket. I mean, I'm so angry about it.
To the insurance companies and the PBMs, which the insurance companies own. That was a topic of conversation this week on the Hill. Let's expand the affordability question. I want to offer this commentary on affordability. I thought I was reading Stephen Moore, but it turns out I wasn't. Take a listen here. If America has an affordability crisis, it tends to be in places Democrats govern, like New York, Illinois, and California, which all feature high taxes, soaring housing costs, and stagnant outcomes in basic areas like education and infrastructure. That's Fareed Zakaria channeling Steve Moore. How about that?
He did. He was channeling us. I had made almost exactly that same point in our hotline in the Wall Street Journal about a week before, and sure enough, it was almost like he was reading from our article. But by the way, good for Fareed. He's much more liberal, but he's calling balls and strikes the right way. To put it very simply, if you live in a blue state, you're paying about 30 to 40% more for everything that the government provides. And by the way, we just updated that study that we're putting out in this morning's hotline, and then we looked at which cities have the highest costs. Well, what do you think the 5 highest cost cities are?
San Francisco.
Yes.
New York.
Yes.
L.A.
Yes.
Chicago.
Yes. Right.
Am I missing one? Yeah.
San Diego is one other one. In other words, any city in a blue state, big city, has huge high costs, and in fact, you're paying a huge premium because they have high taxes, high regulation. They're the cities. Why is it so expensive to get an apartment in places like Chicago or New York or Washington D.C.? Because they have rent control, because they have zoning restrictions that make it illegal to build new housing. Gee, if you make it illegal to build new housing, don't you think rents are going to be a little higher?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's that whole supply and demand thing I've heard so much about.
Hate that. Yeah.
I want something that Victor Davis Hanson said the other day on Laura Ingram's show. I wanted to get your reaction to it. And if you think that VDH's position represents the general attitude of the Republican Party on the Hill. I mean, he is very optimistic about next year for Trump and, by extension, the midterms. Take a listen.
They said that for 3 months, 4 months, 5 months after January 6th, he was all through, he was all washed up, and then they didn't even have a serious primary. No one even got near him, and the main candidates withdrew very quickly. It's the same thing. And they can't decide whether they want to run against Trump or that he's not going to be there. But whatever it is, he dominates the party. He's like a colossus that just strides over the party and the country, and they know that. And they've tried everything, Laura. They've tried to raid his house. They've deballoted him. They had 5 lawfare cases, 91 charges, indictments. And he's kind of anything that doesn't destroy him makes him stronger. And so he's going to have a booming economy next spring when all this foreign investment, this more energy development, more tax reduction, deregulation. It's going to be a good year. And I think everybody knows it. And I think the left, they're reduced to nothing, and they're cutting these videos that are calling for military insubordination, and it's violating a lot of the elements of the Uniform Code of Military Justice, Article 88, Article 90, Article 92, and they're so desperate, but there's no defection. I think he's stronger than he ever was.
What do you think, Steve?
Well, I totally agree, and I've been saying this, and Larry Kudlow has been saying it, Steve Forbes has been saying it. We're going to have a really strong economy in 2026. I think we could have above 4% growth, which we haven't seen in a long time. By the way, when you have 4% growth, you create a lot of tax revenues, and that brings the debt down. And, but people forget that, people come up to me all the time. Well, I didn't feel any effect from that Trump, big beautiful bill. I said, well, you haven't, because it doesn't really take effect for most people until next year. And what's going to happen is that when the withholding, on your paycheck is reflective of the new tax cut, the average family is going to see about $1,500 to $2,000 more in their paychecks over the next year. just because of the big, beautiful bill. So then the idea of, by the way, it's not Trump has $20 trillion of, Donald Trump, I love the guy, but he does exaggerate a little bit, Dan. Did you know that? He exaggerates.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So it's not $20 trillion, but let's say he's wrong by 90%. That's still $2 trillion.
Government rounding error. Yeah, of course.
Exactly. So that's a whole lot of money that brings in jobs and brings in new investments. So, you can count me in the super bullish. Now, whether that means that the Republicans will win the midterms, I doubt it. I'll be honest with you. I think the Democrats are energized right now. You saw that in the 2020, the elections earlier this month. So, I'd be nervous if I were Republicans about, holding on to the House. And even the Senate, I think, is in play. But in terms of the economy, I can tell you it's going to be really good next year.
Stephen Moore, economist, author of The Trump Economic Miracle and The Plan to Unleash Prosperity Again, co-authored with Art Laffer. Steve, thanks as always. Happy Thanksgiving.
Okay, Dan, you too. Take care.
Take care. And Steve joined us on the Turnkey.pro answer line.
The stories you need to know to start your day. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
At AlmostFreeTeeth.com, they're dedicated to making smiles great again. If you have medical PPO insurance, find out how you could save 90% off on average to get a beautiful dental implant-supported smile. Check if you qualify right now at AlmostFreeTeeth.com.
I love giving jewelry as a gift. Roland's Jewelers is the perfect place for that magical holiday gift. Hi, it's Mike Gallagher. Roland's Jewelers is the absolute perfect place for the magical holiday gift for someone you love. Buying jewelry is about trust. Roland's is the jeweler I trust. I'm a customer, and I'm always amazed by their 5-star Google reviews, so many of them. But why not? They're the best. They're family-owned. Hey, getting engaged? Roland's has a large selection of mined and lab-grown diamonds at great prices. Choose from beautifully crafted engagement rings from designer Simon G. or Italian designer Roberto Coin, offering stunning diamond pendants and earrings. How about a Tag Heuer watch with cutting-edge technology? I love mine from Roland's. I continue to be impressed at how expertly trained their staff is. Visit Roland's Jewelers in downtown Libertyville or RolandsJewelers.com. That's Roland's, Rollands, Roland's Jewelers, a family-owned jeweler you can trust, just like I do.
Dan Proft here to tell you about an opportunity for you to promote your business and to make a difference this Christmas season. I'm talking about our Food for the Poor Business Benefactor Program. We've partnered with Food for the Poor to provide life-saving food and water for thousands of children and their families in Latin America and the Caribbean. Your business can be a part of this effort. Become a Food for the Poor business benefactor by making a $2,500 tax-deductible donation to Food for the Poor. That donation will help more than 30 children for an entire year. And when you do that, AM 560 will give you 40 one-minute commercials to air here on AM 560 The Answer between 5 a.m. and 8 p.m. Monday through Friday at no additional cost to you. To take advantage of this deal, just call John Gallagher at 847-472-8950. Again, that's 847-472-8950. One more time, the number, 847-472-8950. Or go to 560theanswer.com/food for the poor. That website again, 560theanswer.com/food for the poor.
Honey, why does it take you so long to get ready?
Because I've got one tiny sink. I'm trying to balance makeup on the back of the toilet, and the mirror's always fogged up.
Sounds like a circus act.
Exactly. And I perform every morning.
At Forever Remodeling, we create bathrooms that fit your life, not the other way around. From extra storage to spa-like showers and timeless finishes, we make your mornings easier. Visit foreverremodeling.com. That's the number 4everremodeling.com.
The historic cherry wood of the colonial bedroom at Penny Mustard reminds me of George Washington, who said, "I cannot tell a lie."
That's appropriate, since the colonial bedroom is fit for a president.
That's no lie.
I also cannot tell a lie.
Really?
No, that was a lie.
The majestic colonial bedroom featuring a king panel bed with drawers, 8-drawer dresser, panel mirror, and 3-drawer nightstand, starting at $13,445 at Penny Mustard.
7 Chicagoland showrooms.
PennyMustard.com.
Better versions of what people want.
Don't miss In Grace with Pastor Jim Scudder Jr. Now heard on Sunday mornings at 7:30. Tune in and find hope as Jim Scudder explores God's Word and His world each Sunday morning right here on AM 560. The Answer.
AM 560. The Answer.
Bottom of the 8 o'clock hour, a very special open mic Friday on Wednesday, because, of course, we're off Friday. So pencil that in. And by the way, for those concerned about Chuck from Delavan after his call on Friday, I did speak with him yesterday. So hopefully he'll be calling in and giving us an update on activities to consider for the weekend. But coming up at 8:08, we'll take a status check on our Food for the Poor partnership with Daniel Patino. It is now 8 o'clock at AM 560 WIND Chicago.
Hitting the road and taking flight. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. Many more Americans are doing that the day before Thanksgiving with air travel back to normal after the long government shutdown that made many nervous, like these two at Atlanta's airport this morning.
We kind of waited to buy a ticket.
Yeah, to see what was happening in general. And
what the situation was going to be. And that obviously led to, higher pricing.
There are more than 700 flight delays across the country so far today. Only 37 cancellations. Most going somewhere for Thanksgiving or driving. Fox Business Network's Jeff Flock is on the road now.
Kind of trafficy on the bridge this morning here as we head into New Jersey. 73 million people will be traveling by car. That is an all-time record. And it's also an all-time record for people flying as well as taking the train and the bus and the cruise ship.
It'll be tough sledding for some drivers with wintry weather today into Friday from Minnesota to western New York. Blizzard warnings in some areas. President Trump says he's fine-tuned his peace plan for Ukraine, trying to stop Russia's wars. His special envoy Steve Witkoff will return to Moscow next week for talks.
So Ukraine have now largely agreed on their 19-point deal, but they say there are still some minor details that still need to be resolved. And frankly, those minor details, they are large ones. They are the security guarantees. Will there be some kind of an Article 5 from the U.S. guaranteeing Ukrainian safety? And, of course, territorial swaps. Russia wants the remainder of the Donbass handed over to it, and Ukraine simply is against that. And future NATO membership is a big issue still to be discussed, and the future limit on the size of the Ukrainian army.
Fox's Benjamin Hall. The Trump administration agenda removing illegal immigrants is hit close to home at the White House.
Bruna Ferreira, who was the mother of White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt's nephew, was arrested by ICE agents in the Boston area. Ferreira has an 11-year-old child with Leavitt's brother, Michael. The couple is no longer together, but her attorney says she's still very involved in the boy's life.
That's Fox's Tanya J. Powers. Ferreira came to the U.S. from Brazil as a child. Her visa long expired. America's listening to Fox.
Good morning. It is 34 degrees here in Chicago on AM 560 The Answer. I'm Stace Keene in the AM 560 newsroom. President Trump and First Lady Melania Trump participated in the annual White House Thanksgiving tradition in which turkeys waddle and gobble were granted clemency yesterday. Before that, the president launched into more attacks on his political opponents, going after the Illinois governor and Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson.
The mayor is incompetent and the governor is a big fat slob. He ought to invite us in, say, please make Chicago safe. We're going to lose a great city if we don't do it quickly.
A federal judge recently ruled that hundreds of people were illegally detained by ICE across the Midwest and must be released. That order is currently stayed pending an appeal. The latest Chicago police data indicates crime overall is down by about 13% this year. A man who's been in prison for more than 30 years for a crime he didn't commit will be celebrating Thanksgiving at home this year. Danny Davis was just 20 years old when he was coerced into confessing to killing a woman. However, no evidence ever tied Davis to the crime, and it has taken all of this time to prove to the courts that he is innocent. Davis told CBS Chicago that he celebrated his release by eating a big steak at Michael Jordan's Steakhouse, noting that Michael Jordan was his favorite basketball player, and he was still playing when Davis was sent to prison. It's going to be a busy weekend at Chicago's O'Hare and Midway airports. The Chicago Department of Aviation saying the two airports could see nearly 2 million travelers from now through Sunday night. That's up 10% from last year. Officials say Sunday will be the busiest of all the travel days, with 700 flights scheduled to carry nearly 600,000 passengers. This news report is a service of AlmostFreeTeeth.com. Think full mouth dental implants are too expensive? Think again, not at AlmostFreeTeeth.com. With medical insurance, you could save thousands and receive your finally affordable dream smile. Check if you qualify today at AlmostFreeTeeth.com. A check of the roads is coming up in 2 minutes, but time now for the AM 560 Business Beat, a service of Signature Bank.
I'm Charles Payne, and this is the Fox Business Report.
Mortgage rates tumbling, pushing the 30-year rate to the lowest level in a month. The 30-year fixed-rate mortgage dropping by 12 basis points to 6.2%. It was 6.93% a year ago. The housing market's been stuck in a rut because of high mortgage rates and home prices, with ownership too expensive for most Americans. And home sales have been largely depressed nationwide. More sellers have begun to cut prices to reflect sagging demand, but that hasn't sparked a rebound yet. The UK lifting its growth forecast for 2025 to 1.5% compared to 1% in its March report, saying growth was higher than expected in the first quarter of the year, partially due to front-loading in anticipation of tariffs. Second and third quarter growth came in below the March forecast. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Lillian Wu, invested in you.
Scott Jennings says this could come back to bite them.
It's pretty clear to me that Democrats want to use the Epstein situation to try to tie up Donald Trump, to try to create a narrative that he somehow had something to do with this when there's not a shred of evidence that he ever did. But they may have blundered into a problem here with some of their own people getting caught up in this web.
The Scott Jennings Show. Weekdays at 1, right before Hugh Hewitt at 2 on AM 560. The Answer.
Do you know what time it is?
To be honest, it's 1:30.
Why did you say to be honest?
To be honest, the cherry wood of the colonial bedroom at Penny Mustard reminds me of George Washington,
who famously said, "I cannot tell a lie."
To be honest, that's correct.
That's appropriate, since the colonial bedroom is fit for a president.
The solid wood design has an authentic old-timey feel.
To be honest, it also features forever tight bed brackets and drawer bottoms strong enough to stand on.
So you can't tell a lie?
To be honest, I cannot.
Okay, in that case, did you eat my turkey sub out of the fridge in the break room?
To be honest, no.
Okay.
It wasn't turkey. It was ham.
The majestic colonial bedroom, featuring a king panel bed with drawers, 8-drawer dresser, panel mirror, and 3-drawer nightstand, starting at $13,445 at Penny Mustard.
7 Chicagoland showrooms.
PennyMustard.com.
Better versions of what people want.
Penny Mustard Furnishing.
Why wait for Black Friday when you can save every day? Hassellus Mattress is bringing back Black Friday Plus. We've gone rogue and activated Black Friday deals now through December 2nd on all Beautyrest World Class, and Beautyrest Black mattresses. You get the way low Hassellus price on all Beautyrest mattresses, plus a free adjustable base, plus free memory foam pillows, plus free next day delivery, plus employee-free, hassle-free showrooms. Not just on Black Friday, but every day now through December 2nd. Get a Queen Beautyrest Elm Cove A mattress. Other stores sell it for $1,650, but our Black Friday Plus price is just $794, plus free adjustable base, plus free memory foam pillows, plus free next day delivery, and a great night's sleep for way less. Bust down our door for Beautyrest Black Friday Plus through December 2nd at Hassellus Mattress. Open 9 to 9. Find an employee-free showroom near you at hassellus.com.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell, definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. If someone talked you into buying something really silly and you want to get out of that silly little thing, my advice, get the facts. Call me and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit absolutely free. Inside, you'll learn how timeshare works and all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free timeshare exit information kit. 800-809-7171. That's 800-809-7171.
Julia owed the IRS thousands.
I was paralyzed with fear.
Then
I heard a commercial for Optima Tax Relief.
Optima Tax Relief is the leading tax resolution firm, A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau and experts in the Fresh Start Initiative.
Optima Tax Relief settled my IRS tax bill.
Call Optima now for a free consultation.
It was amazing.
Call 800-926-0155. 800-926-0155.
Optima Tax Relief.
Visit OptimaTaxRelief.com for details.
From the Team Hochberg Traffic Center, Chicago's on. From the Team Hochberg Traffic Center, issues popping up around the area on the Kennedy. It is stop and go if you're outbound between Lawrence and Sayre Avenue, about a 5-minute backup. Heading to the Stevenson, slow traffic on the exit ramp. That's the inbound off-ramp to inbound Dan Ryan Expressway. Watch for some delays there. Going to the Dan Ryan, we've got some issues if you're inbound between Pershing and Byrne Interchange. They'll set you back about 5 minutes. Also delays in the Eisenhower inbound between St. Charles and the Tri-State Tollway. Let's go the other direction on the Ike. Outbound between Central and Des Plaines, about a 5-minute backup there. Delays up to 40 minutes if you're on the Metro North line, both north and southbound at the Ogilvie Transportation Center due to earlier track obstructions. Finally, on the Stevenson, we've got some slow traffic inbound between Cicero and the Dan Ryan Expressway. I'm John Cruz. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Now a check of the forecast from the National Weather Service.
Today, expect windy conditions with gusts exceeding 50 miles per hour. The sky will be mostly cloudy and temperatures will drop with a high reaching 34. Tonight will be mostly cloudy and breezy with a low of 27. Tomorrow, anticipate cold and breezy weather with more clouds than sunshine and a high of 32. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft on AM 560. The Answer.
Los días jueves, a veces hay días ahora que tienen la gente la basura.
My children go out every day searching for food. They go to the garbage dump every day, especially on Thursdays when we have seen cars and trucks bringing the trash from other cities. Many times they just don't find anything, so they come back empty-handed, and we just sit here and pray to God that the next day we'll have something, and on that day we only drink water.
Top of the morning, Dan Proft here. Those are the kinds of families that we are trying to help with our partnership with Food for the Poor. Again, this holiday season, that's in full swing. I want to thank everybody who's made an individual donation, as well as our business benefactors. We've got about a dozen business benefactors signed up so far, including Humane Indiana, DSP Insurance Services, Applied Mechanical, and several others. And you want to participate in the Business Benefactor Program and help us try to feed starving families in Latin America and the Caribbean. Here's how you do it. There's two ways. One is to make a gift of any amount. You just call 844-862-4673. Or you visit us online, and you can donate online at 560theanswer.com/food for the poor. If you want to join those business benefactors I mentioned and so many others we'll be touting in the coming days, all you do is make a tax-deductible gift, you or your business, of $2,500 to Food for the Poor. And AM 560 will give your business, you and your business, 41-minute commercials to air on our airwaves Monday through Friday between 5 a.m. and 8 p.m., prime broadcast hours. It's the best marketing deal in all of Chicago radio, and at the same time you'll be providing life-saving food for more than 30 children in Latin America and the Caribbean. To become a business benefactor, you call our general manager. His name is John Gallagher. His phone number, 847-472-8950. Again, John Gallagher at 847-472-8950. And as I've said before, but I'll say again for those unfamiliar, Food for the Poor has been doing this sort of work, providing food and water and shelter for more than 40 years in 17 countries. They fed millions of people and provided more than $15 billion in aid. More than 90 cents of every dollar raised goes directly to families like the one you just heard profiled. So they're very efficient, top rating at Charity Navigator. You can check them out yourself to make sure you're comfortable with your philanthropic dollar supporting the good work of Food for the Poor. We certainly are. For more on all this, we're pleased to be joined by Daniel Patino, who's a radio manager and on-air fundraiser for Food for the Poor. Daniel, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Dan, thank you for having me, and as well as your audience.
Yeah, so when we talked to Paul Jacobs last week, we were talking about some of the particular areas of need, countries of need, where it's more pronounced this year than perhaps in years past, and you go where the need is greatest to try to do the most amount of good for the most amount of people, which makes sense. And Jamaica, because of the natural disaster there, the hurricane, seems to be on the radar in a way that maybe it hasn't been in previous years.
It is. Jamaica is one of the 15 countries that Food for the Poor serves in. So it's very near and dear to our heart. It was one of the first countries when the company was founded. And it's always near to us in not so much a distance, but it's in our heart. So the fact that we're helping folks in Jamaica after what you've seen in the news and what you've seen for yourself in social media, it's a lot worse, boots on the ground. We've been there. We were there just last week. Helping families, and the help seems to be there, but it's going to take a minute. It's going to take a little bit, and we're probably looking at months, if not a good year, just to get back to normalcy. What's normalcy? Well, the daily routines, right? Folks working, kids going back to school with things opening up normal. But right now, that normal seems a little far, and that's where you can come in to help. This is where, we're hours away from Thanksgiving, folks, and we really can't give thanks on an empty stomach or with water from a source that's contaminated or it's shared with other animals. We've heard stories of families getting water from a source where animals bathe, drink, just not the best source of water. And obviously it makes families sick. And what happens? They can't go to work, can't go to school, and it just becomes a reality for some and a nightmare for you and I here.
The 15 countries in which Food for the Poor operates that you mentioned. So how does that progress? I mean, you've been able to scale the operation to 15 countries, which is a feat in of itself. But in terms of the resource allocation decision, sort of what's the process to make sure, as I said at the outset, that you're doing the most amount of good for the most amount of people possible?
Well, Dan, that's the question that really matters. We've built a system to solve that exact problem. We have our own ships and warehouses, and we've partnered with local churches and charities, local leaders, people who are already there. They're embedded in the community. They know these families by heart. And we just don't send money and hope. Okay, that's a little different. We send specific life-saving goods directly to our partners who hand deliver these goods. And of course, we cut out the government middleman and all that bureaucracy that you get to hear on the news. And we just get to the heart of the problem, which is the families that are in need. And your gift right now doesn't get lost. It gets delivered right to these families.
Well, and the other thing, too, is, over 40 years, you mentioned the churches, and that's what Paul mentioned, too, last week. That's sort of the force multiplier. You have those trust relationships, so you can be confident that, the supply chain will fulfill the needs.
And let me paint just a quick picture for you. So the families that Food for the Poor serves, two things happen here. The first one is the collapse, right? Just imagine your grocery bill tripling overnight, but your paycheck is gone. Okay, and that's hyperinflation that we see in these countries. A single meal becomes impossible. And then the second part is the water. It's not about a fancy filter or water bottles being handed out. It's a family who has to have a 3-hour walk for a muddy drink that will guarantee make your kids sick. And parents, I'm a parent myself of 2. And some of these parents are forced to choose between dehydration or being sick. And that's the impossible choice. As you also heard there on the clip with Gloria, met that mom when I was in country. She faces those problems day in and day out. And that's something that no parent or a family should go through.
I remember a story that we covered last year about this time. It was really disturbing. It was a story about, and I think it was Haiti, but a story about families making mud sandwiches, like literally. You're eating dirt, and just for whatever sustenance that this concoction, mainly of dirt, could provide. I mean, that's how dire the situation is in some of these countries.
That's right, mud cookies. If you're looking for a name, they've even given it a fancy name just to kind of disguise what the reality is. And you said it yourself. It's dirt. It's mud, and sometimes that mud actually has enough nutrients for them to get on to the next day. Now, yes, it is mud at the end of the day, and that's what these families are pushed to. There is no government backing. There is no local pantry. It's either your neighbor that's probably on the same situation, or a family member that's somewhere on the outside, or a community leader, like I just mentioned that. But you can step into those lives of those families right now. You listening, you can be the solution to that right now, and you can decide how many children you want to pull back from the brink of poverty. And like you mentioned, right now, a $1,000 gift is a massive rescue for 20 kids. That's 20 full bellies and smiles. And for $150, a one-time gift of $150, you can help 2 children by providing them food for a year and access to clean water. That's food and clean water for 365 days. And you can do that by logging on to 560theanswer.com. That's 560theanswer.com, and you can see our Food for the Poor blue banner there. You click on there, and you can help a family right now.
How important is the sort of political reality on the ground in these countries? I mean, some of the countries we're talking about, you've got State Department travel advisories that say don't go there, like Haiti is the obvious one. But yet, so how does that impact your ability to still reach those families when our own government is saying it's not safe for Americans to travel there?
Well, that's the benefit of doing this for over 43 years. We've built a community. We built a partnership with local partners on the ground that are vetted, that we know that they're going to help Food for the Poor, not take away from families that are already pretty much are on the brink of starvation, on the brink of just calling it quits, unfortunately. And that relationship you build over time. It's not something we just appear in a country, we knock on the door to some random person, and then we give to one person. No, this is something that we built over years, and that's why we are coming to you this morning to help these families. These families that obviously tomorrow is Thanksgiving. For some, we're going to be all surrounded by family, by food and leftovers for days. And these families right now that we're trying to help, they're just looking for one more meal. It's one more meal that your audience right now can help with. And it's very easy. Once again, you can log on to 560theanswer.com. Click on that blue Food for the Poor banner, and you're changing a family's life, not only for today, but for a full year. That's 2 meals guaranteed for a full meal for a family that don't know where their next meal is coming from. Or that breakfast that they had yesterday, it's not the breakfast that you and I had this morning, right? It's a 1 egg or a handful of rice, or a mom that I met that had 1 egg to distribute to 3 kids. 1 egg and a handful of rice. That's not enough for anyone. And that's why I'm saying we should step into those families' lives right now and change. That one little outcome is going to change their life for a full year.
How does it work with other NGOs in at least some of these countries? Are there opportunities to partner to sort of maximize resources, or is that just not really feasible or the most cost-effective approach?
I mean, Dan, if I told you I can help you with what you got going on right now, and I am completely on board with you, I mean, I'd say, well, come on in and join me. That's the kind of work we do, right? We attract places and companies and folks that just want to do good. They want to help families that are going through a struggle that probably you and I won't see on this side of the hemisphere. But it's families that are just looking for help. They're not looking to get out from where they were already living for the last 2 generations, right? They're looking for an extra plate, a bottle of water, or water from a source that's not going to get them sick constantly. I met a father when I was in El Salvador. He told me he hadn't had clean water in their community for over 24 years. And during that course of those 24 years, well, they had to travel to a local watering source that wasn't the best. And what they do is carry around jugs of water. A jug of water, just to give you an example, a gallon of water weighs about 8 pounds. And this is little girls, little boys, everybody who can get a bucket, who can get some type of something to grab water in and bring it back home. Well, the whole family does that trip, and it's hours. And again, it's not the best water, right? So that's why, again, we're asking your audience, let's go ahead and help these families. Right now, a one-time gift of $150, like I said, is going to help them for a full year and gives them access to clean water that's not going to make them sick.
How dangerous is it on the ground in some of these countries for your people, both the indigenous people as well as people that may be involved in the logistics, the ships that arrive to unload the food and the water and get it distributed? We know about some of these countries and the level of gang activity. We know about warlordocracies and so on and so forth. Is it particularly dangerous?
It is. And especially for our own Food for the Poor family. But the beauty of it is that we don't stop. We understand the territory. We've had folks that have been there from the start, from the beginning of all this, and they know where to go. They know who to trust. And Food for the Poor does their homework as well, and that's the beauty of it. We get your donation. I've seen the trip. I've seen the journey of that donation. It starts here with your audience. It goes into the countries either through ship, through air, through boat, anywhere we can get to the help to those families, it gets there. And when it gets there, we have vetted partners that know the territory, have been through these places, they know where to go. And yes, there's been moments where our own Food for the Poor family has been in danger. And the magic of it is that they know who Food for the Poor is. They know what help Food for the Poor does. So what happens is we either the grace of God. God protects us and protects everyone, and they give us a trail to these families without having to do extra work of getting around folks or having to distribute food to other folks that don't necessarily need it as much as the folks that Food for the Poor serve. So 43 years of work has really, really put us in a position where those things happen, but not as much as you would think. Right. So the beauty of it is that your donation, your gift gets to these families no matter what.
Your gift, again, as Daniel was saying, just $150 can provide food and water for 2 children for an entire year, $300 for children for an entire year, food and water. You call 844-862-4673 to make a gift of any amount, or visit us online, 560theanswer.com/food for the poor. And again, the Business Benefactor Program, join the other enlightened businesses who've already signed up. A tax-deductible gift of $2,500 to Food for the Poor. And AM 560 gives you 41-minute commercials to air on this station to market your business to our affluent, upwardly mobile listeners, Monday through Friday between 5 a.m. and 8 p.m., prime broadcast hours. Best marketing deal in Chicago radio. At the same time, providing life-saving food for more than 30 children in Latin America and the Caribbean. To become a business benefactor, you call our general manager. His name is John Gallagher. His phone number, 847-472-8950. That's John Gallagher at 847-472-8950. Daniel Patino, radio manager and on-air fundraiser for Food for the Poor. Thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Dan. Once again, number to call, 844-862-4673. And that website was 560theanswer.com. And again, don't just hear that sound that you just heard in that clip there and feel bad. Let's move to act, because a child really doesn't have a choice today, but we do. So again, Dan, thank you for providing your platform to make some change in the world.
Thank you. And Daniel Patino, happy Thanksgiving. And Daniel Patino joined us on the Turnkey.Pro answer line.
The more you listen, the more you'll know. This is Chicago's Morning Answer. Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
If you are 65 or older, you know this. Inflation is hitting everyone hard right now, especially when it comes to health care. Over the last 10 years, healthcare costs have skyrocketed by, get this, 230%. If you have Medicare Parts A and B, you know there are still out-of-pocket expenses like deductibles and co-payments, and they really add up. But here's some good news. MediShare 65 Plus is designed to fill in those gaps and help protect you from rising healthcare costs. At only $99 per month up to age 75, you get peace of mind at a price you can afford. And MediShare is trusted, too. It's been around 30 years. It's not some big impersonal thing. It's a community of people helping each other, business owners, pastors, retirees. People love it. MediShare 65 Plus just makes sense. To learn more, give them a call. They're great to talk to. They'll offer to pray with you each time you call, too. Call now. 855-PSALM-32. That's 855-PSALM-32. 855-PSALM-32.
AM 560. The Answer.
Open mic! Open mic Friday! Call it now! Open mic Friday!
my little addition there because, of course, it's Wednesday, but it's a special edition of Open Mic Friday this Thanksgiving week. Taking your calls, 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line and text line with comments, compliments, criticisms, concerns, general crack pottery. We'll take it all, and we begin as we do with turnkey.pro founder David Kolsak. David.
Good morning, Dan. Well, it's Thanksgiving week, and I've had the honor of beginning these segments for roughly 2 years, and it's been fun, interesting, and fun. I used AI I used AI to find that I've done over 100 appearances covering a multitude of projects. I didn't realize it was that many. It's actually pretty cool. You can use Copilot or ChatGPT or Grok or whatever you like to summarize your documents. So I thought it would be fun to see some of the things we've talked about over the last 2 years. So we've talked about authenticity and how important it is to be authentic and how people are drawn to that. We touched on the military-industrial complex, the JFK assassination, January 6th, and the steady erosion of the media, how Walter Cronkite was gospel and today it's fake news. We had humorous reflections on holiday gatherings and political conversation starters. Another humorous theory on how owning chickens leads to conservative values, pushing people into gardening, baking, and questioning processed foods. We've had conversations about electric cars and the whole EV movement that leads to dismal mining conditions to retrieve the cobalt lithium to produce those cars. We've talked about false flags and psyops, and of course, questioning narratives. We cover the moon landing, the Titanic, trucker protests in Canada, vaccine injury reports, the idea that pandemic isolation eroded American family life, and the notion that we should be content with small social circles, private lives, and peaceful minds. We've explored the pattern of creating bad guys to unify public opinion, bin Laden, Stalin, Hitler, etc. We've critiqued the media for shaping narrative and losing credibility due to completely false stories like Russia collusion, COVID, and Ukraine. We've touched on the color revolutions and how we could be in one as we speak right here in the good old US of A. Voting systems, paper ballots, election integrity have all been discussed, along with tragedies like wildfires in Lahaina and the Pacific Palisades. Concurrently, I touched on geoengineering and chemtrails, which I know you love. We've talked many times about the insufferable U.S. debt and the decreasing valuation of the dollar and all fiat currencies for that matter, and the idea that having hard assets like real estate, gold, and silver are tangible things that hedge against inflation, stock market volatility, and dollar devaluation. We've discussed the Cloward Piven strategy, where the idea is that you collapse the society through chaos, crises, debt, and mass migration. And you can't forget about Candace Owens' Brigitte Macron scandal that began, and who knows where that one's going right now. It's fascinating. We've talked about the Federal Reserve being no more federal than Federal Express, and the realization that since its inception, we've become slaves to our debt. And there have been fun topics, too, like Schoolhouse Rock and I'm Just a Bill, and how that's not really how it works unless you add in the verses about lobbyists and backroom antics. So in the last 2 years, there have been so many topics that I've discussed on your show, and I've been grateful for that opportunity to bring that perspective, my perspective, to light. So back when I started calling in, I stated the importance of asking questions. I remember making the statement that I would rather have questions that can't be answered than answers that can't be questioned. So as we approach the Thanksgiving holiday, I would be remiss if I didn't say I was grateful for the station, the great people who work there, and you personally, Dan. I would also like to thank your audience, as I've met so many people over the years and had so many interesting conversations. I'm also eternally grateful to have started my company nearly 30 years ago. I've got a turnkey family, and it's filled with great customers and dedicated workers who really care about what they do. It's such a blessing. So this Thanksgiving, you've got so many conversation starters to talk about as you engage your family and friends. We're at a point where things that we couldn't talk about just a couple of years ago are no longer taboo. And I think that's a good thing. So have civil conversations, use your own discernment, take a stand for truth, and demand justice. We're at a point where people say that the system is falling apart, but I would argue that it's not just that. The system's being revealed, and it's stations like this one that play a big part in the awakening process. So enjoy Thanksgiving, be grateful, love your families and friends, and don't eat too much. And one more question, Dan. If Neil Armstrong was the first person on the moon, who took his picture? So
yeah, right. Yeah, okay. I was hoping you were going to tackle the controversial topic of gay sheep that we talked about yesterday, with the prospect that it could be Notre Dame's new mascot. But no, maybe gay sheep next week?
I hope it is. That would be great for Purdue.
Yeah, right. Yeah, very good. All right, very good. Thanks for joining us, as always, David. Happy Thanksgiving. Very good. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro, answer line and text line. I did want. I just so I don't not get to it. There was another text leakage. Not quite the quality of the Jay Jones text wishing death on the families and children of his political opponents, and of course, despite that, being elected to be the Attorney General of Virginia, and the infinite wisdom of the Virginia left. But this was kind of fun. Ruben Lego My Gallego is a senator from Arizona, another seat we kicked away. Anyway, he had this text exchange apparently with a Republican friend of his, maybe not as good a friend as he thought because it got leaked. It's pretty entertaining. So his Republican friend texts the good senator, Lego My Gallego, I've been watching all the insanity up there. I think it's time that somebody with a cool head and a solid plan could rise to the top of your party. Gallego, oh man, have you met my party? I've been yelling at them this whole time. His friend, i.e., you're getting a lot of great press. Start making the moves. As much of a pain in the ass you are, I believe you could become the one who rebuilds and leads them. This is how the world views many of them. And he posted a picture of that Rose DeLauro, that octogenarian with the purple hair from Connecticut who looks like Gargamel from, the Smurfs. This is how the world views many of them, meaning his party. And Gallego writes back, they aren't wrong. His friend, my point exactly. You've gained the strength and the wisdom. Seems like it's time for you to flex and battle your way to the top of the party. I could become your Republican consultant, LOL. Gallego responds, we look like the not fun party, always telling and correcting people, not allowing men to be men, women to be hot. We used to be the party of sex, drugs, and rock and roll. Now, dem women look like dem men, and dem men look like women. I'm always, out of the Bill Buckley school, always willing to give people room to come over to my side. And at least on this description of his own party, Gallego is not wrong. I wonder how it's going to go for him in caucus. Yes, a bunch of intolerant, impetuous scolds. The women look like men, and the men look like women. 100%. That's what I see too. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. Eduardo in Tampa Bay.
Yeah, Dan, good morning. Well, I'm thankful that all three of us from the Eduardo clan are here in Tampa for now. And I'm thankful that all the Republicans control all three chambers of government. So thank God for that.
There you go, Eduardo. Thanks for the call. Rick, Downers Grove.
Hey, good morning. Have a happy and safe Thanksgiving for starters. But, hey, I'm wondering, they're talking about, how the Republicans might have a problem in the midterms, and I can't wrap my head around that, thinking in 2016, when Trump was in, all the Democrats did was fight him, impeach him, make up impeachment, make up scandals, and then he did accomplish some stuff. And then in 2020, which I firmly believe was fraudulent, they got idiot in there, and all the Democrats did was destroy the country. People said, oh, man, that's enough of that. So they got Trump in there. He got a good cabinet. He's making progress. But what is it, not fast enough for these people that it didn't turn around overnight? Now they're going to be like, well, let's give the Democrats another crack at it. That's stupid. All the Democrats are going to do is ruin everything he's accomplished and put us further in the hole. And then finally, when they get sick of that, another Republican might get in. But now we're further back than we were before. Can't they just keep it going? They might not love what they're not doing it fast enough. It's a slow roll, but it's a roll in the right direction.
Well, I mean, that's a great argument to make to those who would be voting for Dem socialists around the country, but I don't know if it's going to be the winning argument. Thanks for the call, Rick. I mean, if the economy is as good as you heard Steve Moore suggest that it will be next year, Victor Davis Hanson saying the same thing, then that's certainly a mitigating factor. But, the other problem, too, is don't worry about what they're doing, worry about what you're doing. If you do what you're supposed to do, it won't matter what they do. Well, one of the things that we're supposed to do, and we haven't really figured it out, is turn out Trump voters for candidates not named Trump, particularly when he's not on the ballot. And that's going to be a real charge for Trump, I think. I mean, he needs to make that point incessantly come the new year, that it doesn't do any good. I mean, what is complicated about this? It doesn't do any good to elect me and then turn Congress over to the neo-Marxists. What kind of sense does that make? So some people need to be challenged. You know, we won. I mean, I've been saying this since the election. Oh, we won, so all these issues that we were complaining about have suddenly magically been cured, or they're no longer issues. No, the other side doesn't stop, ever. But we have this significant deficit in enthusiasm and, by extension, turnout. And so some of it is the continuing to convert, continuing to bring more Black Americans and Latino Americans into the party. Although, his support among Latinos has dropped amid the demonization of ICE and the demagoguery associated with enforcement of federal immigration law. So, I mean, it's a landscape that is full of challenges, as it usually is for the incumbent party. I mean, everybody, I think, knows, who listens to this show, sophisticated enough to know what the midterms usually portend for the party in power and the party out of power. There's an advantage. So a robust economy and continuing to close that purchasing power deficit. Right, we heard from Kevin Hassett last week. It was reduced by $3,000 for the average household under Biden. We've clawed back about $1,200 of it, but we still have a ways to go. So, text from 847, Republicans control all three branches. What state does he live in? Well, Tampa Bay is in Florida, so he lives in Florida, and they do. Monica in Lisle.
Hi, Dan. I just wanted to wish you and yours a very happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you. Second, I wanted to tell you that with regards to Friday's conversation about the wife and golf that you guys were talking about in the last 30 minutes, I just wanted to say I'm a very happy motorcycle widow. My husband spends his time hanging out with his friends. I spend my time hanging out at Oak Mall. So
there you go.
Great compromise.
Perfect. Yes. You can have independent pursuits, and then, you come together around the dinner table and all that. Exactly.
Yes,
to watch The Landman or whatever. Yeah, right. Thanks for the call, Monica. Exactly. We need to cue up that golf thing from last week, too. It's so good. About their buddy who got married and sort of let down his bros by getting married. But they're pushing on. Greg LaGrange.
Good morning, Dan. I give thanks to President for providing a firewall, because as critical as I am on his handling of the economy, I think he's done a terrible job. And Kevin Haslett should be the spokesperson most of the time, if not all the time. He has put a firewall in place because we would be like Sweden, we would be like Germany, we would be like any of those European countries where we'd be overrun all sorts of problems, especially our violence problems in big cities and the sexual abuse that goes on in some of those countries. So he has put a stop to a lot of the criticism there. I also give thanks to you personally, Dan. I think you carry a torch and you illustrate how bad this state is and how disgusting the leadership is and how horrific the crimes are in this state, and how everybody seems to have become desensitized. We either need to get out or become more active and just take on this gauntlet that we have in this state, because this is the worst, disgusting, evil leadership I've ever seen. Thanks, Dan.
Thanks for the call, Greg. Happy Thanksgiving. Verlon in Michigan.
Yeah, Dan. You wanted to know what that meant. Last week you said you want to know what that word meant, community.
Mm-hmm.
So the black community. So I want to attempt to explain it to you.
Okay.
It means one thing. It means socialism. Black people have never seen a program they didn't like Black people are not conservative anymore. We got to let that idea go that black people are conservative. They're not. They're socialists. And I remember 2 years ago when I was up in arms about why Republicans wouldn't come to the black community to try to get the vote, right? And then you told me I'm not going to be the hunky that comes to the community to write checks. Now, I knew what you were talking about. You were talking about Bruce Rauner. But I didn't, I didn't relate to it right then. But all black people care about, and I've been telling John this for years, is you cutting the check. You have to cut the check. The government, which they don't understand, it's not government, it's the taxpayers. They want the taxpayers to cut them a check. That's all they care about is money. So then I wanted to tell you, it's been 2 years, but you are right. You're not going to be the hunky to write checks. I'm not going to be the black guy to write checks. But that's all black people care about is you cutting the check. So just remember, the black community, that means socialism. They got their hand out and for reparations and all of these other programs that we got, and they never seen a program they didn't like. All right, I hope I explained it good enough.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying, Verlon. Thanks for the call. I mean, it's one of those things where it is a intellectual problem across all demographics, and it's more pronounced among some than others. And of course, it's more pronounced among, well, it's sort of interesting because on the one hand, it's more pronounced among those who are dependents of the state. But on the other hand, then you also have the sort of noblesse oblige crowd that supports the expansion of the welfare state and the soft bigotry and exhibits the soft bigotry of low expectations because they have no belief that people can rise above their circumstances. So, give them some government cheese and I'm a good person. I've done something for people. When, of course, you've done nothing for people. You've actually harmed them. But until that understanding occurs with more frequency among certain communities, we're going to have this problem. And unfortunately, the bigger the government gets, the bigger is the problem, isn't it? Bart in Bradenton, Florida.
Hey, happy Thanksgiving, Dan. I am grateful for my golf coach, Brett Bonsheim, Sarasota. He taught me the proper way to do an inside-out swing, where he described it as your golf swing is like skipping a stone through the water. It clicked. I went from a 16 to a 4.
Really? You're 4? Oh.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I could roll out of bed and shoot an 85 stiff and sore. It would be a bad day. So I'm thankful for that, and thank you for being on the radio. I used to listen to you way back when with Bruce Wolf, so thank you so much.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Congratulations on the swing tip. It's funny. I got one, too, from Andy Chambers. I'll give him some credit. He's a pro at Old Florida. And it was one of the – it's just like, it's such an interesting game. It's just a little tweak. It can make a big difference. So one of the things, I was hitting too many fat shots, and it was the ball position of my stance. So just, that the setup is underestimated, too, is getting that ball position right so that when you're coming through, you're not so steep. But the other thing, too, just a quick swing tip that helped me visualize, and it helped with the ball positioning, too, and it freed me to just swing. So I'm not thinking about 5 things. I can't do that. That's a disaster. So it's just one thing. So I just get the ball in the proper position, which is a little bit more forward in my stance than it was. And I just keep my left ear, because I'm a righty, my left ear is behind the ball. And I get there, and then I'm just swinging like I normally do. So it's not major changes. It's just a little positioning change and getting used to that position. That took some range time. But I'm playing a lot better now. You'll be happy to hear. Okay. Golf diversion there. Jay and Joliet.
Hey, Dan. Just wanted to call in and say I'm still grateful for being single. It's awesome. It's great. Thank you so much.
Thanks for the call, Jay. Part of the Why Dan Proft is Single club. Yeah, but it's nice to, sure. Glad he's happy. Glad he's living his best life, as they say. Ron in Sycamore.
Hi, Dan. Happy Thanksgiving.
Same to you.
I'd like to tell you and Verlon how I eliminate reparations in my Black life. I started with my wife in 1998 with a mutual fund that she had $21,000 that she put in it in 1998. Today it's worth $455,000. I don't think she needs reparations.
Wow. Good for you. There you go. Well done, Ron. Yeah, see? That's how you do it. That's the model to follow. Agency. All right. Ron's going to be, I'm sure he'll be moving down to my neighborhood some point when he decides to pack it up in Sycamore. Yeah. Unless things change, unless, as Greg from LaGrange said, people decide to get a little bit more active, a little bit more aggressive in response to the dismal, shameful leadership of the state. Bill in Waukegan.
Hey, Dan, thanks for taking my call. I just wanted to comment on that bipartisan group that was advocating that our soldiers not listen to lawful orders. I was in for 41 years, which you probably remember, but I tell you, it's mind-blowing that we're having veterans, especially that Kelly dude, actually advocate and tell our troops not to listen to their officers. That's the oath that we take when we sign up, is to take the orders of our president and the officers appointed above us. If people have common sense, they know what unlawful is and what lawful is. So I just wanted to say that that group just really pissed me off. It's sad that they're veterans, and I would distance myself from them at every possible moment. So thanks for taking my call. Happy Thanksgiving, Dan. God bless you and your family.
Thanks for the call, Bill. Happy Thanksgiving to you. I think a lot of veterans feel the same way you do. Steve in Hobart, Indiana. Hey,
Dan.
Steve. Yeah.
All I want to say is that I appreciate the angles that you take on every issue, and it makes me smarter. I appreciate that.
Well, thank you, Steve. I appreciate your appreciation. Thank you. Thanks for tuning in. Happy Thanksgiving. Sean, Darien.
Yeah, I'd like to just say I'm very grateful for Donald J. Trump. He didn't get in. This country was done. But also, like the previous listener caller, he just says he's thankful for you, and I am too. You do. You make us all smarter, and you give us such knowledge. I just hope I can retain just a small portion of it. And I hope everybody has a happy Thanksgiving, and God bless.
Thanks for the call, Sean. All right, I got that golf clip. I mean, you got to play it again. It's fun. Levity. If it's really levity.
Any concerns with your buddy who just got married, missing golf the last 2 weekends?
Yeah, obviously it's been a pretty disturbing few weeks for us here. We're all pretty shocked and concerned. We were told once the wedding wrapped up that, and the one we weren't invited to, that things would kind of, return to normal, status quo. Men's league would be back on. We'd be back out 3-4 times a week. But, it's obviously looking more and more like a bit of a false report. But listen, our biggest concern right now is just making sure this isn't a held against his own will type situation. We know he had big plans to break 90 this summer, and he was getting pretty close there with a 93, I think, at Shawnee a couple weeks before the wedding. So it's hard for me to imagine this being kind of an idea of his own making. But listen, I'll say this. If it is, and he's a new man now, and he's going apple picking with his family instead of playing 18 with the boys and crushing female bacon sandwiches, then all the luck in the world to him. That's his own prerogative. I can't put my energy into the guys who aren't in the trenches with me. I got to focus on getting the ball in the air with my 5-wood, things like that, breaking 100, getting rid of 5 putts, those types of things, that we really care about. I can't focus on a guy who doesn't want to go to war with the boys. So, if that is the case, like I said, we're small luck in the world. But my focus is going to be on my terrible golf game and practicing pretty infrequently and getting angry when I don't get better. That's it. Simple as that. So.
Yeah. No, I mean, sometimes you got to let him go, Tommy. I hear you. Tommy Stewart, he does these bits on Insta of regular guy golfer if a regular guy golfer did press conferences on the, on his game, and yeah, very good. Like pitch perfect. The tone, pitch perfect. Matt, Southside. Matt, Southside dropped. Tom, Blue Island.
Hey, Dan. Happy Thanksgiving. Really thankful for you and Sean, and miss Amy a little bit. You guys were a great team. Really thankful for President Trump. I think lost in a lot of what we've heard lately is I believe people would still be pouring across the border of this country if Joe Biden or Kamala Harris was president again, in reference to what that gentleman had said that called earlier. So, and I feel like we're fading a little bit as far as some of the issues going on, but I'm still grateful for the country I was born in and live in. So happy Thanksgiving to the AM 560 listeners.
Thanks, Tom. Happy Thanksgiving. Ralph and Wilmette.
Hey, Dan, thank you for being on the air and giving us the right news. I'm thankful this year for finally getting a job after Biden's economy, only in the nick of time, and hope to get a much better one.
Okay, good.
And thank you for all the listeners for supporting your station. And happy Thanksgiving to you all.
Thanks, Ralph. Happy Thanksgiving. Glad to hear you're gainfully employed. Joe, Poet Laureate, Chicago's Morning Answer. Can't have a holiday without Joe's musings.
Well, good morning. I don't have a poem, but I did want to reference, it's attributed to the Roman historian Cicero, the quote, "Gratitude is not only the greatest virtue, but the father of all others." And to that extent, Thanksgiving touches all our holidays. We're grateful for Christ's birth at Christmas and at Easter for his resurrection. We're grateful for all of our deceased service members on Memorial Day. We're grateful for our country on Independence Day. We're grateful for the labor movement when it was still good on Labor Day. And it all wraps right back to Thanksgiving and being grateful. So to everybody out there, always remember, gratitude is the attitude. Happy Thanksgiving.
Thanks, Joe. Happy Thanksgiving. Well said, as per usual. Kevin, Ogden Dunes, Indiana.
All the listeners will be happy.
The Prime Minister. Oh, excuse me.
Yes. Yeah. All the listeners will be happy to know that I talked Chuck from Delavan off the ledge. He thought life above the cheddar curtain is a dead-end street in a cul-de-sac world, but I convinced him otherwise. But, Dan, you make us all smarter. I wish you could make me better looking. But that dissertation on the Tupperware was just delightful in the hot zone.
Kill zone. Kill zone. Yeah.
Kill zone. Thank you for that complimentary treat. Good sir. All of Ireland is celebrating. You start each and every weekday for so many people. And we miss you terribly, when you take time away from the microphone. You are truly perspicacious, but none of the listeners know that word, so I'm going to have to start calling you the Wizard of Wisdom. I thank Colsack, he's great. The Cowboy Poet Laureate, once again, Joe. History Frank, he teaches at that rough school with the tough neighborhood, and they make it they search you for guns and knives before you go in, and if you don't have any, they give you some. That's how tough that guy is.
That's tough, yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, PM. Appreciate it. Happy Thanksgiving. Matt, Southside, try again.
Hey, good morning, Dan. I was going to say, make sure for Black Friday sales, check out some hair brushes and bras for the Democrat men, and maybe some beard brushes and jock strap for Democrat women.
Exactly. That's not us saying it. That's Senator Gallego from Arizona, Democrat socialist. So, hey, when you're right, you're right. Glenn in Orlando.
Yeah, good morning, Dan. Happy Thanksgiving to you, all the listeners, and the team at AM 560. God bless the station. Keep up the good work, and, don't lose hope, everyone. Fight, fight, fight. Remember, on Dante's Inferno, at the gates of hell, it says, remove all hope, O ye who enter through here. So The double wins when we lose hope. So don't lose hope.
That same sign is at the corporate boundaries of Cook County, I believe. Mac in the 219.
Hey, I'm thankful your golf game is getting better. I've been losing sleep.
Thank you.
I'm thankful to hear Chuck from Delavan's on. I hope he's doing great.
Well, thanks for the instant request, Mac. I mentioned I talked to Chuck yesterday. A little concerned after our call on Friday, but the irrepressible Chuck from Delavan to close it out. Chuck.
Hey, I want to thank everybody. Happy Thanksgiving.
I think Chuck.
My grandfather was born in 1889. He gave me a gift of a prayer, and it was for Thanksgiving, for grace. And it was it says, for all we are about to receive. Thank you, O Lord, in Jesus' name, amen. You guys have a great Thanksgiving.
Thank you, Chuck. Chuck is he's okay, but I think he's going through some things now, but he's a good man, and we're happy to have Chuck's contributions over these many years. I've known him going back to WLS. So happy Thanksgiving, Chuck. Thank you for calling in. I know that was tough. And thank you for everybody who joined us today. Happy Thanksgiving to all. It's now 9 o'clock, AM 560, WIND Chicago.
Just 40 flights canceled so far in the day before Thanksgiving travel rush. I'm Dave Anthony.